Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving value's contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Come on, man.
Come on. So now we got to figure this out.
Man.
Folks,
man.
we have a special podcast today. We have the Hodge twins. And they tell me, when they walked in, I looked at their beard. I mean, it's very hard to tell them apart. They say the ladies can tell them apart. So if you're watching this, let us know who's Keith, who's Kevin, who's sitting on the left or right. And we'll be watching through the commentary to see if you have any idea of who's who. If you don't know who they are, they're social media phenomenons. They've been for a long time. They have a YouTube channel with 2.5 million subscribers, former Marines. They're professional, I mean, how should I put this in a diplomatic way? Professional shit talkers.
Shit talkers. I was just going to go there. Shit talkers.
Entertaining, but here's the other part. There's a difference between shit talking, but sometimes talking trash to the point where you make the audience think and say, that kind of makes sense, you know? So there's a different aspect to it where it's just purely entertainment purposes. The other aspect is also wanting to get some people to think. Interesting story about these guys. Obviously, they're twins, but they've both been married for 15 years, I want to say. One of you has 20 years? Yeah, 22 years? And one of you has 4 kids, one of you has 3, unless if it's changed.
Right. No, just 3 for me.
Not to my knowledge. I think I got only 4 kids. I might have a couple out there.
Okay, thank you. Adam's kind of a guy. Anyways, okay, so look, we got a lot of things to cover. Obviously, we'll get into it here in a minute, but let me kind of preface what topics we're going to cover after we learn more about them at the beginning. There's stuff that happened in Iran I want to talk about. Something happened with ladies in Iran who are cutting their hairs as a form of protesting against the hijab. And the morality police, you should have seen what happened just a couple days ago. I want to talk about that. Armenia, what happened with Armenia against Azerbaijan. That's been a pretty interesting events taking place there where Nancy Pelosi went and paid a visit to Armenia. It's not a good situation. Azerbaijan is purely bullying, and a member of the parliament, imagine like a head of state getting up and reminding the Armenian people. When I play this video for you and you hear what this man said, it's going to be very, very disturbing. We had a massive crisis, folks, take place in Martha's Vineyard. I mean, it's tragic events that these folks, there's 2 million people crossing the southern border, but God forbid if 50 are sent to Martha's Vineyard. They had to call, who did they have to call, Tyler? They had to call who?
They called the Army. They called National Guard. I think it was 125 National Guard members for 50 immigrants.
They called the National Guard for 50 immigrants. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you guys got some things to say about that. Newsom the other day called out Desantis for debate, and I like DeSantis' rebuttal back to him. We'll get some commentary on that. And then Kardashian had a meeting, a sit-down with 2021 Forbes Woman of the Year, Hillary Clinton. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. They had a sit-down with her and Kardashian. They had a legal quiz going back and forth, which was interesting. And then we got a few other stories that we'll cover as well. But aside from that, my sister bought this magazine yesterday. We'll just do a little bit of trivia and have fun with this. Okay, she bought this magazine yesterday. She comes to the house. We're playing dominoes. Dylan, again, is back at it at 8 years old, just kicking everyone's butt, although Paulette did one yesterday. And it shows her estate. And I want to ask you guys this. Try to play along without Googling this and messing it up. But Adam, I'm going to ask you, and Kevin, Keith, I'm going to ask you guys as well here in a minute, she had a big stamp collection, okay, on how much you think that was worth. She had a big car collection, her real estate portfolio on how big it was, her horse racing value, her royal collection of art, what that's worth. But here's the one I really got a question I want to ask you guys is the crown jewels. She wears this crown jewels, okay? This is what it looks like, okay? I don't know if you've seen this or not. Adam, that's what it looks like. I want to know what you think that alone is worth. In a minute, we'll go through it. But at this point, Keith, Kevin, for folks who don't know your background, first of all, thanks for coming out. Take right off the bat, just tell us a little bit about your story, how it came about to you guys becoming, YouTube phenomenons today where everyone's wanting to learn more about you guys.
Well, it started back in 2012. No, 2010.
2010. Yeah, it was actually, we wanted to be CPAs, accountants.
Yeah.
But we had this job where we was insurance adjusters.
Right.
You being serious right now? You're joking.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Yeah, we work for AAA of Southern California.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to get into insurance, by the way?
I just needed a job.
You said tax collectors.
Right.
Imagine these two showing up at job. Taxes are due, motherfucker. Like, yeah, whatever you want, man.
You're gonna pay it though.
Yeah, we was claims adjuster. We had no auto accidents, and I came across YouTube. YouTube was in its infancy at the time, and I went to Kel. Said, "Look, these people are on YouTube. Let's start doing videos. We can be comedians."
Literally.
Yeah, he came to my cubicle, which his cubicle's right on across from mine. He walks around and tells me, I said, "What are you talking about? I thought it was going to be certified public accountants." You know?
Now let me ask you, while you're doing that, did a video prompt you go into him or no? Like, did you see something and say, "Dude, we can do better than these guys"?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we saw videos. So look at all these views these people getting. These people are whack. Let's try it. You know.
Yeah.
So we started doing the videos.
But we was having a hard time finding the time to do it because we had full-time jobs at AAA. So we came up with the great idea on our lunch break at work. We can go into the second floor. There was a conference room with no signage or anything. It was just an empty floor. It was vacant. So we would do our videos in there. Somehow or another, HR found out that we're doing videos in there.
Well, you forget how they found out. They was investigating this one guy because he was passed up for promotion. So we did some videos with him. So when he went to his YouTube channel and they saw him talking trash about the company, there's me and Keith in several of his videos.
Yeah.
So what happened was the HR, at the time I remember the economy had tanked. It was totally overstaffed.
This is 2010.
This was, it was around 2011 or so.
Okay, got it.
There.
Yeah.
So we was totally overstaffed. So I remember me and Keith was coming back from lunch and we saw HR.
Right. I was like,
whenever you see HR, you're like, oh shit, somebody's going to get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was this bald white guy. Right.
This
and
is
he was
eerily reminiscent of what we got going on over here.
Right. And
Shout out to Robert O'Rourke.
And he was obviously not that it matters. He was obviously gay. He was a gay guy.
We got the same situation going on here, bro. Bald gay guy.
We're coming back from lunch, and Kel's like, "Look, HR's here. They're gonna fire somebody." And right before they walked in the building, they stopped and looked at us. And then they walked back. And I was like, "Why the fuck are they looking at us like that?" Shit, you not. I sit down. I clock back in. Excuse me, Keith. We have to see you in the conference room.
Let me tell this. You getting it out of order. We sit
fuck
down.
you. I'm
So we sit down, right? I'm at my cubicle, and then I remember it was the manager's out of the office. The assistant manager came up and said, "Hey, Kevin, we need to talk to you for a moment." I was like, "Oh, okay." I totally forgot about HR. So I'm sitting down, right? And I said, "Oh shit, there's the bald white gay guy." So we sit down. He's got a female with him, and they start asking me questions, like loaded questions, like questions they already know the answer to. And I was like, "Is this about the YouTube videos I'm doing?" I said, "Yeah, I do videos, but I don't say where I'm at. There's no signage. Nobody knows where I'm at. I don't even tell people where I work at. What's the problem?" I said, "Well, you're using some foul language." I was like, "Y'all calling me in over some foul language over a video that nobody knows where I'm at, and it's during my lunch break when I'm off the clock?" So I lost it.
Literally.
Yeah, because that job was so demanding. You would come in the mornings on Monday, your queue was full of claims.
From the weekend.
I'm on the phone all day, constantly. You have no time to take a break. And I was like pissed. I'm like, I come in here every day. I bust my ass. I don't make any problems or anything. And you talking to me about some YouTube videos.
Some foul language that nobody heard. I mean.
So they was putting me on a minute.
Now, did any one of them go and take off or not yet? You guys haven't taken off yet. Okay, got it. So it's not like one got 2 million views and they're like, "Hey, everyone's calling."
It was like 1,500 views, man. It was nothing.
Yeah. So we getting like a verbal altercation. They call security and all that. And they escort me out. Before they escort me out, I say, "Hey, it's with my twin brother. I know if you're talking to me, you got to talk to my twin brother." I said, "Where's Keith?" I went to his cubicle. He's not there. They already grabbed his ass. So I'm walking all over the floor. "Hey, where's my fucking brother?" Right? So I'm like going in all the empty rooms. Hey, Keith over here. Hey, Larry, Keith going here. And then it's like, "Yeah, but I don't know nothing." So I find Keith, he's in the conference room sitting down with HR.
It was funny when I was in there talking and it was asking me all these loaded questions. I was like, and then all of a sudden the door busts open. There you are. These motherfuckers fitting a fire ass.
Well, you were hiding out. Where were you at?
Yeah. I was in another conference room on the other side of the building.
Being interrogated or
Yeah,
just
being interrogated.
just hanging out by the gay guy with the HR?
Yeah.
This guy's making moves.
So I looked at Kevin and then they had lost total control of the situation. And they called security. And we went back to our desk to like pack up our things. And there was a lot of people. People were actually crying. Because we had been there for like 3 or 4 years. We're like really friendly guys with it. Everybody knew us.
Oh, you've been working there for a while.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been a
Okay,
while.
I got you.
Yeah. So I remember couple of secretaries that I always used to talk to them. They were upset. They were crying. And it was just it was a horrible situation because at the time when I got fired, my wife was 8.5 months pregnant. Right? And I was like, so we was worried about the insurance thing and whatnot. And my wife was like, get a real job. YouTube's not a job. So
Not at the time, for sure.
not at the time. But looking back on that was such a blessing for that to happen to us because that gave us literally a year of unemployment to see if we could make YouTube work. And it eventually did. And
we wasn't making money the whole time. Like the money we was earning like 50 cents, 60 cents. Oh, Kiefer made $2 this month. Way to go. And then, we was on unemployment for, I think 10, 11 months. And right before we got off on unemployment, we made partner. And we started earning a little money. And we kept doing it. And by the time our unemployment ran out, we was able to, we wasn't making the same amount we was earning from AAA, but we was earning just enough to survive.
Yeah, and we always want to be like self-employed. I never want to work for anybody else again. And I thought this was a great opportunity to take advantage of that. And I never would have thought it would have took the route that it did. I had no idea I'd be here sitting talking to like famous people like you.
Famous people.
Yeah.
If I was
Famous rich people like you.
if I was
In a bank vault.
In a bank vault.
Come on.
He bought out Chase Bank and took it from him.
Chase
They're
Bank
written
pays him.
ATM. They're written ATM outside.
That's right.
I never thought I'd make it this far.
Oh, yeah.
So if I was in high school with you guys, like if I'm in like 10th grade, who are you guys in high school? I'm curious.
I was the shyest, weirdest kid you ever
Get
seen.
out of here.
We were loners.
Yeah.
Seriously? So this is in Virginia?
Yeah.
You guys are loners in high school?
Yeah, it was
So
just us.
You're not class clowns. You're not athletes. You're not like...
we used
were
to
some-
act up, but we was always together.
Yeah.
We was each other's best
We was
friends
class
our whole
clowns,
life.
but it was like we was just so shy. And I
we
wanted
was like weird shy.
socially
I remember, yeah, socially awkward.
That's
I remember, this is how weird we was as kids. After a basketball game, we was in junior high, we was walking home, right?
Yeah.
And these white girls pulled
I think it
up.
was after basketball practice.
No, it was after the game, I think.
Oh, shit.
Which one is it, guys? Get it
It was
together.
one of those. We walking home, right? And these white girls put up from our school. Hey, Hodgetwins, where y'all going? I freaked out. I took off running.
You didn't spit in the game. You didn't holler.
No.
You just ran away.
I was just weird, man. I wasn't gay or anything. I was just,
He got.
But hey,
nervous.
$20 is $20. But
Were both of you guys like that with the ladies? or-
Yeah, he just left me there, and they're like, "Where's your brother going?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm gonna go join him."
Wow. So
Yeah.
no sports.
We played sports.
Yeah,
Okay.
we played sports, but as far as like, it was just like me and him. That's all we needed was each other. We didn't need friends.
Yeah,
Who
we never
caused
went
that,
to
by the way?
party.
Who created that for you guys to be close? Did a parent play a role in this, or was it just the two of you guys?
I think a lot of it had to do because when we grew up, we was really, really poor. Really poor. We didn't have nice clothes. We didn't have anything.
So we just stuck together.
Yeah. So we stuck together because we didn't want to get, bullied for that. Because we didn't. I remember we would go back.
Self-confidence was low.
Yeah, self-confidence because where we live, how poor we didn't have food most times. So we just stuck together because we didn't have a lot of self-confidence as kids growing up because our childhood was so rough.
Yeah, everybody else is wearing like Jordans, and we're walking around with USA 500s from the dollar store and shit like that, and Rustler jeans. Everybody had Jordache.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Our first house that we lived in when we was kids, it didn't even have a bathroom, it had an outhouse.
what year did you guys grow up in? 1920? What do
No,
you
they're
mean
the same
outhouse?
age as us. They're only 4 weeks older than me. We're 4
Yeah,
weeks
we just
apart.
turned.
And you're using
You guys just had a
outhouses?
birthday yesterday or 2 days ago, right? You guys just had a birthday. Yeah, happy
happy
birthday. to you
birthday.
guys.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, mom, dad, what values were injected? Like, give us paint a picture of what values were injected growing up in the two of you guys. Was it, hey, you got to work hard. Hey, you got to respect people. Hey, you got to read books. What were some of the values?
My dad, he worked 2 jobs. He was a barber, and he worked at this it was Fieldcrest. It's like a textile mill, and he was never home because he always had 2 jobs. And my mom was like really Christian, and she always told us to do the right thing and never do drugs, or you'll wind up like your cousin. He's on drugs, and you don't want to be like them. So, but my dad, he worked really hard. Actually, one of his jobs eventually killed him. He caught some disease at his work from breathing in cotton, and it killed him.
How old were you guys?
He actually died on my 14th birthday.
On your 14th. How did that affect you guys?
Man, it was terrible.
It was rough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been so long ago, but and then I had an older brother who went into the military, so that was somebody else to look up to. And a lot of my friends, looking back on it, they didn't have no dads.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it at the time, but all my close friends, all my close black friends, none of them, they had a mom, they had a grandma, no dad. I never noticed any of that stuff, but when I look back on it, at least I had a dad. I think that's what kept us in line.
Wow.
Because a lot of those guys, they, unfortunately for them, they got locked up, you know.
And was there a relationship with Pops? Were you guys close for the 14 years? Like, was there any kind of, like, you played sports
I was scared
together?
of my daddy.
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
Well,
He's mean.
Well,
So-
Daddy didn't really talk much. The only time you saw Daddy is when you fucked up and he was beating your ass. And he would beat our ass.
Would he?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like old school or new
Old
school?
school. If Daddy was alive today doing that shit, he'd be locked up. You can't do that shit he did to us.
What
Daddy
was,
would.
what was the
Thanks.
running back that got in trouble for whooping his kids?
Mike, Peterson.
Yeah,
Adrian
Peterson.
Peterson.
He
Adrian
made
Peterson.
Peterson like the Pope.
You know, he got knocked out last week, by the way. Peterson did.
Oh, he did?
Against the Bell. Le'Veon Bell was the other
The running back? Yeah,
he knocked him
Le'Veon
out.
Bell.
He knocked out Peterson.
Can we stay here on this dad concept?
Yeah,
Because we just came back from Madrid. We were interviewing Andrew Tate. I'm sure you're familiar with him.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And a major focal point of the interview was the role of a father, the role of a man, the role of what Andrew Tate's dad, the influence he had over him and his brother, the role that Pat's dad, Gabriel, had over him. And you said that your dad passed away when you were 14, but he was a badass dude, would whoop your ass, all that.
And
both
But
Yeah.
you appreciated the fact that at least you had a father. You're talking about the fact that all your friends didn't even have a father. You didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Meaning it was just completely normal in your lifestyle, right?
Right. It
And then
was-
when did this epiphany hit you? And like, what happened to all your friends that didn't have fathers? I think this is something that young men are lacking these days.
Yeah.
A male influence, a male figure, leadership. Go ahead.
You know what? My dad really didn't talk much, but I saw what he did each and every day. That was a huge influence on me, what my dad had to go through as far as working 2 jobs. And I think that's very important for just men in general, because if you don't have a father figure in your life, you're going to be like a woman, actually, if that's who's raising you. You're going to be like an angry woman.
Yeah.
Women are typically emotional, and you don't want your men to be emotional. That's like a nightmare for men.
Yeah, and as far as my mom, she really battled with a lot of self-confidence because my mom, she grew up during Jim Crow. So by the time I was an adult and I was 18, I was traumatized about white people being racist because that's what she endured when she was growing up, because she actually lived through Jim Crow and all that.
What would she tell you guys? So, hey, Keith, Kevin, just make sure when you're going on the streets, when you go to school, if the white man, what were some of the mindsets that were instilled in you with specifically?
Well, my mama was, for the most part, was traumatized by racism. Everything she looked at was through a lens of black versus white, because that's what she experienced.
Makes sense.
So when I graduated and I went to school, and when I went on to the military, I looked at white people totally different than what I do now, because I heard all the horror stories growing up as a kid.
Yep.
I lost my father. He wasn't in my life, but my mother was in my life. But what she instilled in us is just fear of racism.
Fear of racism, like
Yeah.
fear of people judging you based on your
Yeah.
color. Okay, I got it. It wasn't like, hey, son, in America, you can do whatever you want in your life as long as you do the work and you read. Is that what she's saying, or no? She's saying the opposite.
And we had a lot of experience with racism. I remember Keith was he was a spelling bee. He's in a big time speller. You know, so Keith, he actually.
Let me tell this my story. This is 6th grade. I seen kids on TV going through the spelling bee and winning. I was like, I want to be that guy, right? So I was sitting home. So I wanted to be that guy. So I remember a spelling bee was announced. It was 2 months. I said, I'm going to enter this. So I was sitting home just going over the list of words that's going to be, asked to spell. And I remember Kel's like, man, you suck. You really want to be a spelling bee champion? But anyway, I studied my ass off. And it came down to me and this white kid. I remember his name was Croy. Remember him?
Yeah.
Remember
Croy?
Troy.
Oh, Troy.
Sorry, it's my southern dialect coming through here. Troy. And they came to me and said, spell almanac. I remember it to this day. I'll never
Almanac.
I said, almanac. I got this one. I know how to spell this shit. I said, almanac. ALMANAC. Almanac.
Correct.
Then she said, I'm sorry, you misspelled it. The correct spelling is this. Yeah. And I was like, no, I spelled that correctly. And then it's like, no. And then she spelled it. And I was like, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
And then they escorted me off the stage. And the white kid won. And I was so pissed. But I didn't realize it was racism at the time. I just thought I messed up. So I had this one teacher. Her name was Miss B. She was a black teacher. She was the meanest woman. Nobody wanted her class. All the black students.
Meanest black woman in the world.
None of the black students. Oh, man. You got Miss B for, oh my God, she's the worst. No black kid wanted her.
And she was black.
Strict. And she was black. And she was
strict.
real hard on the black kids. Real hard.
Yeah.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a good way. I remember this black girl showed up. She had wait, let me just
let me just
hold on.
No, this is more
There
important.
was this girl named Sonora. She showed up. She had dark red, bright lipstick.
Yeah.
She was a dark-skinned girl. Miss Drew actually took her, bent over her knee, and powdered her and made her wipe up all the lipstick and told her she looked like a prostitute.
Wow.
This is your girl, Miss B.
Yeah, Miss Drew.
Miss Drew.
Miss Drew.
What was it?
Miss Drew.
Miss Drew?
Miss Drew.
But anyway, back before I was rudely interrupted.
By your brother.
Yeah. After the spelling bee, I was kind of like in tears. I was pissed.
By the way, you
That's
spelled it
insane.
correctly.
No, you
I
did.
spelled it correctly.
I saw Back to the Future too. I'm very familiar with the concept of the almanac. Right? You spelled it right.
Right. So I go to Miss Drew, and she's crying. And she was like, and that's the first time she ever said anything nice to me. She's like, I'm so proud of you. Right? I was like, but Miss Drew, I spelled the word correctly. She said, no, honey, it's just some things you don't understand right now. Right? Yeah. And she explained to me, I was like, really? Well, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, the community you live in, what's the split? What percentage is African American? What percentage is white?
We actually grew up in a poor white neighborhood. We lived in a poor black neighborhood before, but then my dad said, let's go live with these poor white people instead. I can put up with the racist jokes. I can't put up with all this damn crime and murder and drugs.
Yeah.
So we grew up in a poor white neighborhood.
That's crazy perspective right there, by the way.
Yeah.
To see if you have a choose between
Yeah.
crime, all of that versus the racism.
Yeah.
Father chose the pain of having to deal with that over potentially losing your kids. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And he actually said that?
Yeah. It was a lot safer. I mean, it was the west end of town where all the black people lived in the city, and no, they chose over there.
Don't forget, Keith, we got after basketball practice one day, one of the teammates.
Yeah,
actually,
sixth grade.
Sixth grade actually pulled a gun on me and Keith.
Yeah,
after basketball and said, "Give me all your money." I said, "Man, you robbing the poorest black kid."
This is a white kid or a black kid?
It's a black kid.
And
This is
in
before they
sixth
changed
grade.
schools.
Yeah, and
They tried to rob two broke ass brothers.
Yeah,
with
the
no
poorest two black guys in town.
What'd you give them?
I think I gave him a quarter. And I think I had a couple of shiny red pennies. That's all he got.
Yeah, and
Wow.
and that was on the black side of town. Yeah. And this kid was our age. What was we, 12, 13? He's already got a gun.
I think it was 10, 11.
Yeah, and he put it right to our face and robbed us.
But the coach saw him.
Yeah.
And they called us in the school the next day. He said, "What happened?" I said, "Yeah, Michael pulled a gun on me." And then they expelled him.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, we went home. We was in the military. We went home. We went to the West End where we used to play basketball.
Just to reminisce.
And then we saw the guy that pulled a gun. He saw it.
Out of here.
And he took off. I said, that was Michael. Let's get the hell out of here. He's probably going to come back and finish this off.
Yeah. That's like a white man can't jump. He says, I'm going to my car. So can I ask you guys a question about, because I think it's very powerful. We just said that you grew up, your mother was born and raised Jim Crow, dealing with all that. You were raised amongst mostly black people. You moved to the poor side of town, all white people. What lessons did you learn about white people? Because your mother made you very scared of white people, I assume, right?
Yeah,
Basically,
right.
the lessons she was teaching you.
Yeah.
But here you are in a poor area of white people, right? It's not like these are privileged white people or even like, blue collar East Coast racism white people. These are trailer park people.
I remember playing with my friend. I ain't gonna mention his name. He came to one of my comedy shows, but every time we would be playing with them, when we come up there and they start playing with them, all of a sudden he would have to always go inside. Right?
His mom didn't like us.
Yeah, his mom didn't like us. I said, hey, man, why y'all keep going inside? He said, oh, my mom don't like niggers.
Said this.
Yeah.
Damn.
He started laughing. I kind of started laughing, too. I was like, you don't say. Because my mom already knew. She already told me.
Yeah, that's why they're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened? So from this upbringing that you have, extreme, which in a way, I know it's going to sound weird, but you have the best of you have the worst of both worlds, right?
Yeah.
You have the one side to see what it really looks like, and then the other side is what racism looks like. So then you guys join. Do you guys join the Marines at the same time or no?
Yeah.
Do you guys go to the same unit, same everything? Is it same MOS or no? Was it different?
No, it's all different. We got split up. They didn't. Our recruiter thought it'd be a bad idea if two identical twins went in the Marine Corps at the same time.
Yeah.
So we went in like 3 weeks apart.
Yeah.
And then not the same unit or same base.
No,
I was 1st Battalion.
I was 3rd Battalion.
We're at.
Paris Island.
Paris Island.
Oh, so same base, but just not the same unit.
Right.
Which kind of, you still had a chance to have fun together, though. I mean,
No, I hardly saw.
Not Marine Corps boot camp. No, I thought I was
boot
going to
camp.
die.
I got you. Boot camp. I got you.
Yeah.
So was it active or were you reserve?
Active.
And then where did you go to after boot camp?
I went to San Diego. Kevin went to Tustin.
Yeah, MCS Tustin. It was an old air wing. They closed down when I was getting out. I remember George Bush was closing down a bunch of bases. We went from MCS Tustin to MCS El Toro. Then he took El Toro to, I think it was MCS Miramar in San Diego.
At what point are you guys, like at this point, politics, what role does politics play in your life at 18 years old going into boot camp?
I thought all Republicans was racist. I thought all white people was racist.
Yeah.
I was raised to be a Democrat. My mama always taught us to say, look, Democrats are for blacks, Republicans are for whites.
Yeah.
She taught me that from as young as I can remember, like 5, 6, 7 years old. I remember we was watching the debate, and then she always, up and down, she couldn't stand a Republican.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning? Because she linked Republicans to racism? Is that kind of...
She was very naive when it came to politics.
Yeah.
She had no idea that Jim Crow was by Democrats. She had no idea that the KKK was started by the Democrats. She had no idea.
My mom was a good woman, but she ain't know shit about politics.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ours, though, right? I mean, if you look at a lot of our, who raises us, they don't sit there and go. So, what event caused you guys to get a little bit more into it and get interested? Was it this insurance job that you guys had? Where
Right.
I would say it's my older brother. He was a Republican. He used to put things in my ear, but I just thought he was an Uncle Tom at the time.
Yeah.
I
think over time, as you like live your life and you have experiences with other people that look like you start to develop like, you know what? I have control over my life. If I make good decisions, I will go far. It has nothing to do with my skin color. Yeah. And I think we just both saw that over time.
Yeah. I remember when we first came across, I didn't know the difference between a liberal and a conservative. I came across Ben Shapiro, right? I remember he was on Piers Morgan's show. They was going at
guns?
Yeah.
guns.
It was
about the
NRA,
guns,
Second Amendment, yeah.
So I was a batshit crazy liberal at the time, So I'm like looking at Ben Shapiro, and I was like, oh, man. That white supremacist, he's got an answer for everything, And then I found out that he was Jewish. It's like, wait a minute. How can a white supremacist be Jewish? Those two don't go together.
Yeah.
So I started listening. Then after I watched Ben Shapiro, even though I hated everything he said made sense. Then I came across Larry Elder. Started looking at Larry. And then Keith came across
Thomas Sowell.
Mark Levin.
Mark Levin, yeah.
on the radio.
Yeah,
Yep.
Candace
Keith
Owens.
would just listen to him because he was always talking shit about Obama. We just thought he was racist. But the more you listen to him, it's like, this dude's starting to make sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, who's introducing you to this stuff? Is it your older brother, or are you just coming across it?
YouTube.
I got you.
Yeah.
And are you guys living together at this time after the Marines?
No, we're not living together at the time. But I remember I started seeing Kelvin said, man, look at this new Ben Shapiro video. He's killing this black guy over here. And it's just common sense, really. If
I think conservatism, the C in conservatism, all it is common sense.
Yeah, if you just sit and listen to both sides and just be objective and listen to what both sides are offering, I literally do not understand how anybody could be a Democrat these days. You got women competing against men. They pushing all this stuff on kids with the drag queens and hysterectomies for girls before they go into puberty because they want to be a man. This is a freeing stuff. It should not be being pushed mainstream like it is.
I think the breaking point for us was I voted for Obama his first term because I thought, I didn't really know. I just voted for him because he was black.
Yeah, at least you're honest about it.
Yeah, I'm being honest about it. But he was the eye-opening. After Obama, and I started listening to both sides, I hated Obama so much, I actually voted for Mitt Romney.
Yeah, think of that.
Yeah.
From Obama to flip to Mitt Romney.
Yeah, he was the only option.
Wow.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Think about that. When Obama ran, think about this. It was Mitt Romney and John McCain.
In 08 was McCain, and 12 was Romney. Correct.
That was the Republican option.
I think I'm not too much into conspiracy theories. It's like they almost set Obama up to be president.
Yeah.
They almost set him up to be president as a one-term senator.
What do you mean set them up?
Yeah,
Set them
Like
up.
they planned it, like they wanted a black president.
Yeah, it's like they're both liberal. Far like McCain.
Who's both liberal?
McCain. They're Republicans, but they're liberal. The way they vote, the way they their views, it's liberal. Like Mitt Romney is not a Republican. You know what I mean? McCain, he's a Republican, but no, he's really not a conservative. It's like that was your only option if you didn't want to see Obama.
Well, these people are called rhinos, right? Republicans in names only. So the problem with, we can kind of talk Democrats, Republicans, what conservatives these days. But the contingency where you're talking about Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger, the people who are not, Republicans, these are traditionally what Republicans are. Now it's MAGA, right? So there's this kind of infighting within that.
I don't even think
so
it's
they
MAGA.
would say that MAGA is not traditional Republican. So how do you process that?
I just think there's a bunch of disinformation. MAGA, Trump is not the Republican Party.
Correct.
Yeah, Trump.
MAGA is not the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Correct.
The Republican Party now are conservatives. People who believe in conservatism, the Constitution. That's what the Republican Party is. It's not MAGA. It's not Trump.
Yeah.
Trump galvanized the constitutionalists who are on the right, but he is not the Republican Party.
Yeah.
That's just propaganda. That's all that
But do you
is.
actually think
They're
conservatism...
using that to discredit the Republican Party.
I'm sure they are. But do you actually think when you define conservatism, the first thing you go to is the Constitution? Because that's not where I go whatsoever. I don't think 99 out of 100 Americans could tell you what the hell the Constitution says, left, right, or center.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm saying freedom of speech, freedom to carry a weapon.
Yeah, just
freedom to assembly, freedom to go to work. Just basic rights that we have under the Constitution. And over this last pandemic, they took all that away from us. Even the Republicans initially shut everything down, but over time, the Republicans was the party that said, hey, we're hiding from a virus.
Yeah.
This is stupid. You can't hide. You can't run from a virus. It's time to go back to work and live our lives.
Yeah.
But the only people that remained that shut everything down and wanted to hide from it was the Democrats.
Yeah, Republicans just believe in freedom. Let me live my life.
Yeah.
And Democrats think they know how to live everybody's life for them. I'm not for that. That's the Republican Party in my eyes.
Also, Republicans just want to be left alone. Democrats wants to be in everybody's life, it seems like to me,
Yeah. Well, no, you're absolutely right. We're living in a state which is called, the free state of Florida. There's no doubt that Florida, DeSantis has led the way in terms of freedom. You guys were living where during the pandemic?
We was in Nevada.
You're in Nevada. Okay. And how did your state handle the pandemic?
Mask, shutdowns, just stupidity.
Okay, because we've been in Vegas a couple times, right, Pat? And the first time we were there, it was like desolate. It was
Yeah.
And they killed them because everything in Vegas is tourism.
right.
So it really bit them in the ass in the long run. They had to eventually open it.
We were the first ones that did an event when they opened it up, and it was
Correct.
a surprise to everybody when they did open it up. But let's keep going here, because again, my interest is how you guys went from mom and dad, how you were raised. 14 years old, you lose your dad because you said a place he was working at where, you know, he goes on your birthday, which is, talk about a day that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. And then on the other side, mom is saying, hey, racist, be careful, guys, all this other stuff. Then you go to the military. Your older brother's kind of like feeding you some stuff on the conservative side. Then you hear some Ben Shapiro, Larry Elder. You see some Mark Levin, and you're like, hey, this kind of stuff makes sense as a conservative as you're, you know, growing up. So at what point did you guys say, we want to talk about this? When you created the YouTube channel, did you think you were going to go that route, or was it more, you know, let's review some supplements, let's test this out, and let's do that, and let's do this?
It was more about just having fun.
Okay,
Talk
got
about
it.
current events and fitness, relationships, just having fun. Then over time, you know, we saw the direction the country was going in. I remember the breaking point for us was when the kid that was in Texas, he went to a Whataburger and he was wearing his MAGA hat.
Yeah.
Remember, he got attacked.
Yeah.
The guy took it from him. So Chief came up with a great idea. Say, let's don't say what we are, because we hadn't came out of the closet yet. So we was closeted
Came out of the closet.
yeah, we was closeted conservatives.
So your audience doesn't know yet.
They have no idea.
How long have you been creating content without them knowing about it?
We've been on YouTube since 08.
4, 5, 6 years.
Oh, so you go in 6 years, they don't know your. So the first time you choose to do it is to wear MAGA hats.
Yeah.
Okay, and how does that work out?
Yeah, well, we told
You know
him-
what? Before I cut you off, we used to take, because we always loved the cops. We would always, people, oh, I love you, your channel, what you do, relationship is funny. We would take pictures with cops. And I love cops, because without cops, we don't even have a society. This place is overran by thugs and criminals, you know. So every time we'd take a picture with a cop, just to show our gratitude for police, we would always get these crazy comments.
Yeah, we'll post a picture on Instagram. Just like, man, y'all taking pictures with cops? Do you know your history?
Is it black people talking shit?
Oh, it's
Dude.
black people.
If you want
Straight up.
All black people with Tupac emojis.
I mean, there's ignorant people whether you're white or black. But if
Right.
you want to see a real ignorant person, go check out a black dude.
Right.
They take ignorance to a whole new level.
Well, how many times has a black person called you an Uncle Tom?
Oh,
I'm
dude.
sure you've lost count,
I'll
correct?
be as rich as him if I.
Well, walk me through that process, because as a black person, you guys are both black guys. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of you get that good, you know, light skin
used
kind of
to-
like.
I
thing,
could-
but-
I
But wait a
Yeah.
minute, I want to hear the story. They didn't tell the story. Let them finish their story with the hat. So what happens
Oh, I
with the
didn't
hat?
realize it-
So
okay.
yeah, there's a story coming up.
Yeah, Keith said, let's do a video. Let's don't tell them that we're conservatives. You're going to come down the middle. Common sense, right? So we did the video on Instagram, posted it. Always said in the video, nobody should ever be attacked for wearing a hat. First Amendment right?
Yeah.
So I think we even said in the video, if you got an Obama shirt, nobody should attack you. If you got a Trump shirt, nobody should attack you. That's your freedom. That's the right you have in this
Yeah,
country.
this is America.
This is America, right? We treasure First Amendment right in this country.
Yeah.
We put the video up, right? And when we put it up, you know how you go on the Instagram, you can look at your statistics?
Yeah.
Man, it looked like Bitcoin. Straight down. We lost like 15,000 followers in an hour. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know that really pissed me off. And I was like, I got a bunch of liberal. I can't say the F word. That's derogatory. I got a bunch of liberals, and it just really, man, it pissed me off so much. These people have been watching me for years, and for them to just throw me away like I'm a used condom, just like that, because of that video. So it really galvanized us. I said, you know what? Let's start doing political content. I don't want these people following me anymore. Halfway through it, like a week into it, I was like, man, this is career suicide what we doing.
Yeah.
But we never knew conservatives were going to come out and support us the way they did. We're more popular than we've ever been.
Where were you at the time when you lost the 15,000? How many subs?
We
did
was
you have on
around
YouTube?
475,000 followers on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now we are well over
It
2.5.
felt like almost, I think it almost got so bad, we almost fell under 400,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the post.
Because of that one post.
Because we
so
start
with
posting
MAGA
political
hats
content.
on, you're saying.
I never wore the MAGA hat. I was
I
just
didn't even
doing
say I was a Trump supporter. I just said nobody should be attacked. That's all we said.
Oh, wait a minute. So you never put the hat on. You never supported. You just said nobody should
Nobody
be attacked.
should be attacked.
Yeah.
And that cost you 15,000 same within an hour?
Within an hour.
Shit fell out off the table like Bitcoin.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then, but like I said, it like really pushed us to start doing political content. And
And it's hard talking about politics because it's so you get pissed off just talking about it.
Who was the first? Like, if you were to say, you know how sometimes, like, we do the interview with Tate. Okay, so hey man, we're gonna see what's gonna happen, and then all of a sudden, the people that send you messages like, wait, you follow that? I agree with everything the guy says. I just can't say publicly. I agree with, and these are people in Hollywood and sports are like just DMing me nonstop. And many of these interviews you'll see who likes it. Like we'll do the mob interviews and interesting communities. Like, hey, I watch all the mob interviews. We'll do bodybuilding. The bodybuilding people show up. Who were some of the first big names that messaged you to say, hey man, we support you, keep at it, we got your back? Where you said we're not alone?
Well, a lot of people that's in Hollywood, they unfollow me immediately.
Yeah.
Never heard from them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the black ones anyway.
But did you when you said you started getting support?
I mean,
who was a name where you said, wow, this guy supports us?
Pro football players from the Dallas Cowboys, pro baseball players.
Any political commentators? Any political comment? Like, did you hear from Larry Elder? Did you hear from Bongino? Did you hear from Candace? Did you hear from any of these guys at the time? Of course, now everybody knows who you are. I'm just saying at the time.
They were. They didn't reach out person, but they would retweet our tweets.
That's a form of support.
Yeah. So, as far as the whole Uncle Tom stuff, that really stems from black people think. As a black person, you have to vote Democrat. So they're not actually thinking with their mind, using their brain when they vote. They're thinking with their skin color. So when they see me vote for Republican, they start to project and think I'm voting for Republicans because I love white people. I want to be white, or I want to have white friends or white girlfriends. That's just dumb shit I hear. But it has nothing to do with race while we're Republican. Yeah. Black people have not realized why I'm Republican. It has nothing to do with my race.
Yeah,
I understand why you vote Democrats because you're black and you think
the Democrat Party own your vote.
Yeah, and Joe Biden thinks it too. He said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. I mean, I get that, but that's not why I'm Republican. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with freedom and how I'm living my life.
So Keith, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, I'm starting to realize the difference. If I see you in the streets, I'll figure it out immediately. No, you got a different smile than he's got. It's all in the eyes. Eyes is how I tell you guys apart. Nothing more. Not color of the eyes, but the eyes have a different look. Okay. But Keith, question for you. So, for you, what you say, I don't understand. It's common sense to be a conservative. Right? I don't even know how somebody could be a Democrat today. So, okay. There's a lot of people on the other side that have fancy degrees, that are very well off, that are financially well off. Some of them are billionaires. A lot of them are billionaires. You can't tell me they're dummies to be
Democrats. They're not dummies.
Why do you think they're Democrats? What do you think? Why do you think they're Democrats?
Well, first of all, they're successful because they're in the greatest country in the world.
Okay.
First and foremost. The reason why they're Democrat is they're not thinking rationally. They're not thinking logically. They're not using logic at all. I don't see how anybody could support the Democratic Party with their policies.
How would they become billionaires? Because to become very successful in life,
right,
you have to be able to reason and to be able to stretch a dollar. You have to be able to hire the right people. You have to be able to put systems together to raise capital. You have to do a lot of those things to be able to succeed, regardless where you are politically. Why do you think these people still?
Democrats use emotion to gain votes. Just like what happened in Georgia. They're trying to change around the voting. They want voter ID. How did the Democrats spin that? They call it Jim Crow. This is racism. They actually moved a Major League Baseball game out of Atlanta, Georgia to Colorado. They use emotion for votes. Once you can grab somebody emotionally, they stop thinking. Tell a black person somebody's racist. Oh, that's all they need to hear. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to use logic to know racism is bad. So when they hear that, they believe it.
Yeah, I think a majority of billionaires are liberal because they don't think for the little man. I mean, if I'm a billionaire, the first thing, I don't see why any billionaire would want to be a conservative to begin with, because to be a conservative, man, you think about everybody. As far as a billionaire, it doesn't mean you, just because you're a billionaire, you're a rational or logical thinker. All you have for the most part is great ideas. For a business, you put out a great idea, and everybody gravitates towards it, and that's how you can earn lots and lots of money based on ideas.
Does that mean so let's identify it as that? So at this point, and by the way, I'm playing the devil's advocate. I'm just trying to enjoy a good debate here. So let's identify the fact that people who are billionaires, they're great at being creative and coming up with the best ideas. Does that also mean that the left has given them better ideas to buy into to vote for because they're attracted by their ideas? Because look, it's either messaging, it's either delivery of messaging, it's either...
That's exactly what it is. It's how you deliver your message.
Okay.
It's how you present your message.
Democrats
Yeah.
are actually better politicians than Republicans.
Yeah.
Republicans rely on the truth to push out their message. Democrats play politics.
Yeah. They do a lot of ad hominem attacks. They do a lot of things that, intellectuals should not do in any civil debate. They say things they call people like racism. As a black man, the first thing when I heard somebody say somebody's racist, I didn't even double check it. I automatically assumed they're racist because I was traumatized ever since I was a young age. So whenever I see a Democrat say the other side is racist, they're being intellectually dishonest because they already know for black people, when they hear that word, you're traumatized.
That's a red flag for black people.
Do you think that's why? So okay, so now we're getting to a point of they're able to tap into the emotional side. Republicans are kind of like, this is the truth. How do you not understand it? This is logical,
Right.
But the whole saying about facts tell, stories sell. Republicans are trying to sell facts, and people are like, you're not emotionally. So going back to the whole thing with the emotional side. Okay, so
I'll tell you like this, Patrick. Democrats, they sell victimhood.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be able to, like Republicans, it's all about pull yourself up by your bootstraps, As far as when it comes to Democrats, they like to sell victimhood. It's very hard to convince somebody that you are the problem. Like, it's not your government, it's not society, it's not racism. Your life is based on the ideas you come up with and how
nobody
hard you
likes
work.
that. Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear
Yeah.
that. And that's a very hard sell.
That's a very hard sell. Very good point.
Yeah, everybody wants to hear, it's not my fault, it's the government's
That's
fault.
so
It's not my
powerful.
fault, it's racism. That's why, as far as being a Democrat, they do have, they have it a lot easier when they present their messages because a lot of these things that they share with people about racism, transphobia, all these things, a majority of them are just made up terms to divide everybody so they can grab your vote. They could care less about society, if you ask me, a Democrat.
Like the one thing about trans people, they are high suicide rates. They die at a higher rate than other people. I heard Joe Biden say that. Trans people are dying all the time. Well, he never says why they're dying. Why are they dying? Are they dying because they're transgenders? Somebody's killing transgenders, or are they dying because they participate in risky activities
A risky behavior.
or risky behavior?
Or mental health issues.
Or mental health issues.
Is leading that for sure.
Yeah. So, I understand that's happening, but why is it happening? Why don't we address why it's happening?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, explain why it's happening, they'd say it's as a result of transphobia.
Yeah, white supremacy.
And then they call us transphobic. You know how many comedy shows we got canceled because they label us transphobic?
Yeah.
When I'm not transphobic at all?
Yeah, like nobody, like they always, we had like 3 or 4 shows canceled.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't know, my youngest son, his babysitter was transgender. Nobody knows that.
Yeah.
She
But when we
wanted to
lived in
be-
Virginia,
Yeah, she was a female. She wanted to live her life as a man. She's transgender. Every time she came there, she's looking at entertainment television, looking at a bunch of drag shows. I didn't fire her. I didn't throw her out of the house. When she came and sat me down and said, hey, I'm going to start transitioning, I was like, we mean transitioning. You got to give me 2 weeks notice.
Before I transition
That's
to
the
a
first
new
time I came
babysitter.
across it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't fire her. We still know her. Still talk to her from time to time. I'm not transphobic.
So do you think this whole thing with emotion and logic? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to go to an interesting place here with our friend Adam. So emotion and logic. Do you think maybe, say the left is willing to play dirty politics where maybe the right doesn't get as dirty as they do? Hypothetically, a lot of people say this. Okay,
Absolutely.
better politician.
Do you think this is why they lost their minds when they found an equal match and a guy that was willing to get dirty and play the emotional game as Trump did?
Yeah, and he's not part of the whole political system because, like the Bushes, they've been in there.
Like Trump is not a politician.
Yeah.
Like when I look at Obama, you can listen to him. He's a great talker. He's very charismatic. He makes you feel good inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I sit down and listen to Trump, if I'm a malcontented person, I feel horrible about myself. Right? He gives tough love. He tells it like it is. He's not going to sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
I mean, he could take some lessons from Ron DeSantis. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Trump is not a politician. He's like a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
He's going to, like when he started going at it with Rand Paul. I mean, that wasn't a debate. That was bullying. You know what I'm saying? But
And
that's why all the conservatives gravitated towards him, because we just went through Mitt Romney and McCain.
Yeah. And Rand Paul's a patriot. I love Rand Paul.
Yeah.
He's an intelligent guy. And
He just pushed Fauci again this last few
man,
days.
he's all over Fauci.
Yeah.
All over Fauci.
So you're saying him, he came in. So for you, do you see a DeSantis now looking at what worked in, like, I almost see like DeSantis is a very good student, by the way, because DeSantis, you know, in sports, the NBA changes every once in a while. So 30 years ago, to win a championship, you needed a big man. So it was Akeem, Robinson, Shaq, like everybody needed a big man.
Yeah, big-
Ewing, we got to go get our big man, right? And I was
Yeah,
like, nah, you really don't. You need a good two guard, or you needed this, or you needed that.
Right.
And no, we're going to do our, you know, what do you call the Boston when they had Ray Allen,
Big
Paul.
three.
You need a big three. So LeBron, Bosh, and all this guys. I see DeSantis sitting there as a student watching and saying, let me tell you, Romney didn't work, McCain didn't work, but this guy made every one of them feel so uncomfortable because he shot fires first. That's what I'm going to do. And DeSantis, in his own way, is practicing his trolling abilities. Because if you go back to DeSantis 4 years ago, he wasn't a guy that was a troll. I don't remember DeSantis being a troll. But now you're seeing the Top Gov. Now you're seeing all this stuff that he's doing. Is he trying to say, for those of you that like that part of Trump, don't worry, I'm going to do that as well, and you get that as well, on top of the right policies?
I see a little bit in him, but he still, when he says something, you can't twist his words. You can very easily take Trump's words and twist them around.
Yeah, like
You can't do that with Ron DeSantis.
when Trump said about the whole kneeling thing was going on.
Yeah.
And Trump came and said, fire those sons of bitches, throw them out. I'm like, you're not gonna get the black vote calling those black football players mom's sons of bitches.
Yeah.
I mean,
What do you think
I mean, I
needs to
liked it.
happen?
I liked it. Fire them. Get them out of here.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be protesting our flag. Protest injustice. Don't protest our flag.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
I was
but it's
gonna-
the right to protest.
That's their right to protest, and I'm not saying they don't have
doubt.
the right to do so, but it's also such thing as an effective protest.
Yeah.
That protest was very ineffective. You divided the country when you do that. If you really want to bring people together, hold up signs of white and black people who's been killed and murdered by the cops that you feel that was unjust.
Yeah, hold up the flag, because
Yeah.
that flag stands for freedom for us all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
instead of coming out with Black Lives Matter, should have been All Lives Matter. If you really, but no, it wasn't about bringing things about police brutality. It's about dividing this country. If they really want to bring us together in police brutality, there's a man that died just like George Floyd. His last name was Tipper. It occurred in Texas. He died the exact same way. Those cops are still on the force, while the cop that kneeled on George Floyd, he's in prison. Because it's not about bringing people together. It's not about police brutality. That Black Lives Matter was all about keeping black people thinking a certain way so they'll vote a certain way.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why we have that organization,
push
in my
victim.
humble opinion.
Yeah, they're pushing victimhood. Now you look at that organization, they're suing each other. Over what? Money. That's why that whole organization's there.
Yeah.
Money.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I'm processing your guys' story. You know how basically your mother raised during Jim Crow. You guys were devout liberals. You voted for Obama in 2008. You've been going through this sort of red pill process. Basically you're talking about BLM and you're standing up against that. I think the facts are, by a percentage or two, 90% of black people vote for Democrats. I don't even think it's close, bro. It's not like 50-50, not even close.
It's the only demographic that does that.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think needs to happen for black people to realize, all right, let me be a little bit more open-minded and maybe even think about voting Republican? I'm not saying they're going to pull a switcheroo, but to let it into their temptation.
it's tough because
what do you think will happen?
They always say white supremacy is coming from the right. No, that shit's coming from the left. If they really want to change black people's perspective when it comes to politics versus liberalism and conservatism, Hollywood would get involved, but they're not going to do that because black people are that cash cow when it comes to politics. I believe in white supremacy, but it's not the white supremacy of the man in the Ku Klux Klan outfit saying in this, in that. No, when I look at white supremacy, I look at the hold the Democrats have on blacks and the way they think and how they label other blacks that are conservative. That's how I see white supremacy.
But what do you actually think needs to happen for that
Hollywood
transition
needs
to
get
happen.
involved. Our church.
Well, Hollywood ain't gonna do nothing,
They're not
bro.
gonna-
You know
What
that.
needs to happen for what? I'm curious. I didn't
For
hear.
blacks to actually consider to vote Republican. I'm trying to understand that mindset.
I don't think it's
Because Hollywood's not going to
Yeah.
change.
That's the
right?
main reason
the
why.
media is not going to change.
Yeah, that's the main reason why they.
It needs to
shot-
start
yeah.
with the grassroots, right? It needs to
Yeah.
start by black people like you
Yeah,
guys,
we
like
need-
Candace
we
Owens,
need
like
new
Larry Elder.
civil rights leaders.
Okay.
That can,
but that's the thing, man. In this day and age, you don't need a black leader. What's wrong with a white guy telling you the truth?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be a black guy? Why can't it be a Chinese guy? If you really want to judge people by the content of skin, why does it have to be a black guy that's telling you the truth?
Yeah, I feel you on the surface, but but
I
people.
feel you too. Color is very important. Though,
It is
because-
important.
especially the black people, because the main reason why Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated,
Right.
the main reason why Malcolm X was assassinated, is because the message they put out there about being independent, work for yourself, work hard, make good decisions. That's the main reason why those two men were assassinated.
And guys, don't forget, color matters. Why did you vote for Obama in 2008? Go ahead and tell
I was
me.
black 'cause I was dumb.
there you go.
I was a dumb liberal.
But because you saw a black guy and you said, you know what? I'm going with him.
Yeah.
Forget about policies.
We lacked objectivity.
I got to tell you,
The main reason why I voted for Obama is because what my mama went through. I really wanted her to see a black president.
And before she died, she's like, man,
Yeah.
this country has changed so much in the years I've been here. Look at your brother. He retired from the Army. Look how successful he is. He said, and my mom's told me that. She said, yo, you look at you guys on YouTube having a good time. She said, man, this country's changed so much.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. I think it's already happening, Adam. I think it's already happening behind closed doors. Look at the country as a human being. Okay, as the country is aging itself, it's also going to go back and forth with different types of crises you experience. When you see certain things, you're going to change. I think behind closed doors, people are still, like the other day, Cardi B. She just went on a rant on Twitter. I know you guys had an issue with Cardi B a few years ago, which was very interesting. Hey, if they would have paid college tuition, would have been free. I wouldn't have needed to strip. And you're like, what are you talking about? And you guys came back.
Never going to free your taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But she said, she's like, my family's calling me and they're asking me to help them out financially, which I'll do. I'll do that. That's okay. I'm doing it with some of my family members. But what is going on with inflation? And he says, then she said the line, I don't know if you heard what she said. She says, and I know some of y'all are going to say, well, you're the problem. You voted for Joe Biden. I'm not blind. I know what's going on. I'm paying attention to what's going on. I have money. So Cardi B, wait, what?
Yeah.
For her to even say that.
Right.
To even say that, to get that audience, and then you're getting more people gradually talking about this, where the other night we're spending time with a guy from Hollywood who we're going out there having dinner, we're having a nice conversation together. And he says, listen, man, you guys got to know, there's a lot of conservatives in Hollywood. There's a lot of conservatives in Hollywood. One of the best things that happened to Hollywood and what's going on right now, where I think this is going to be flipping, I think Netflix ruined Hollywood. I think Hulu, Netflix, I think Amazon, I think a bunch of these OTTs, I think Daily Wire with the movies they're making, I think Barstool, I think Us, I think, you go to some of the smaller guys that are coming up. I think, even Rumble with Chris, what he's doing over there, I think every one of these things is getting people to check and be like, ooh, maybe before we would have just dropped the guy like this, we can now, because they have an option to go to the other place. Maybe before we could only put the video in one place. Are we going to take it down? Well, I'm going to put it here. You don't have another place. So Spotify now allows certain users to put videos up so people go watch it on Spotify. People go to Rumble. So I think what happened is when you play this game of choking people and silencing them, me and Tate were talking about this the other day, is behind closed doors, you're giving birth to flag carriers who don't want to be controlled. They want to be left alone. And those flag carriers are also passionate that they're willing to come and find their types of people. And they're doing it today. So I think Hollywood, the days of a Weinstein having a control of everybody, you have to go through him, those days are gone. Netflix showed a formula that bunch of people are following. It scared the crap out of everybody in Hollywood. They don't know what to do right now. It's the best thing. Same with social media, by the way.
Right.
Same with social media. So I
Disruptors.
I think it's going in the right direction, and I think it's already going in the direction. But guys, like, people are listening, like right now, if you're listening to this, I'm looking at the commentary. Our audience, we have people that are obviously capitalists, but we have some people that go, oh, I hate Trump, I hate this, people listen and they say, this makes sense. Look at the story, what they went through. Sometimes when you're going through something as a kid, you're like, why the hell am I going through this? Like, what are you doing, God? And then he's up there saying, you'll know in 30 years. That's a long time. Don't worry about it. I'm going to know how to use you in 30 years. Be patient. These guys went through what they went through. God's using them in a way right now that, by the way, there's no book that's going to convert in a different way than their stories right now. You're watching two brothers telling their stories. Here's what happened. Some people are like, yeah, I kind of relate to this. This kind of does make sense on what's taking place. By the way, from just listening to you guys, the feeling I get is in the most subtle way, you guys are leaning more towards DeSantis than a Trump administration in 2024. Is that a pretty good read or no?
I'll take them both. I don't think either or.
Okay.
But that's the funny thing about it. I don't know if Trump's going to run. And I don't know, just looking at what DeSantis is doing, I think he's going to run.
Yeah.
But and I don't may not run.
I think
Trump's going to run, but I think I'm not necessarily think DeSantis is going to run with Trump, though.
Yeah, I think DeSantis is going to run.
Yeah. And if Trump wants to run for president in DeSantis, that's going to get ugly.
Well, so there's a whole different camp that even Tucker kind of alluded to a little bit that this indicting thing. Do you think any of that's going to be taking place? Do you think there's
I don't
any
believe any of that.
Okay, got it.
But they've been Trump being indicted.
Yeah, I mean, for years they've been saying he's been doing this and that, and nothing ever came of it. And now they're raiding his house. I still don't believe until I see it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Keith? Where are you at with that? Could it happen? Could it get that ugly where they may do that to him to just eliminate a competitor?
They impeached him twice for just breathing, so I wouldn't put it past him.
I mean, what are they going to indict him for? Being orange?
I mean, he is guilty of that, brother.
I mean, you might not like. You know what I had to get over when I made that switch over to conservatism? I always voted for people who I liked, and that it brought that to my head when you said that you don't vote for people who you like. You vote for people who's going to make, that's going to make this a better place to live. You vote for their policies. Has nothing to do if he's handsome, if you like him, if he's charismatic. It has nothing to do with it. I want an asshole in office if he's going to take care of my family, my rights, and protect our country.
You don't care if he's an asshole, if he takes care of you.
I don't care if he's an asshole.
Yeah, but see, you're objective. Most people ain't objective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that,
well, I'll tell you what, Bill. You guys watch Bill Maher ever?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's getting more and more, leaning more and more.
Well, he's just the typical Democrat. He's not far left. He's just what
he's
Democrats
a traditional
used to be.
liberal.
Yeah.
But you talked about being an asshole, right? And I think that's part of the reason that Biden, is the president now, because people were sick of the asshole tendencies. But I'm going to read you what Bill Maher had to say. He was basically saying that there's the rise of the meh voter, the MEH, like I just don't Trump meh. This whole concept. And he said one of the reasons, obviously, you as kind of comedian type guys, you'll appreciate this. He said they're basically saying there are so many good reasons to give Democrats your vote. Again, this is on Bill Maher. And he basically says, well, things could be worse. Inflation, right? The economy.
Right.
There's no other option because the other guy's a fucking dick. That's what he says on this. And that's how people basically process Trump. Right. Is I totally understand that if it'll benefit the country, this is a good question. If it benefits the country, would you rather have an asshole in office or a nice guy and the country kind of goes down the hill? Yeah. That's the kind of what the country is essentially grappling with right now. But you're saying you'd rather have the asshole.
Yeah, I think for the most part, if Trump in office, I'm just speculating. I think if he's in office, I don't think Putin invades Ukraine. I think it's a huge possibility.
Yeah,
that's what's leading to a majority of the inflation.
I do hear that argument. They address it. I do hear that argument all the time, and you very well might be accurate. The other side, the flip side, people are saying, "All right, cool. All right, I don't think Trump, if he was in office, they would have invaded Ukraine." The other side is basically saying, "Cool, maybe you're right." But now that the war is being fought, whose side would Trump be on? Would he be pandering to Putin at this point? Would he be basically sending a lot of money to Ukraine? These are the questions that the left is basically responding with.
Right.
I'm not saying that's right or wrong. This is basically saying if he was in office, he would probably be siding with Putin.
I don't think he'd be siding with anybody. I think more than anything, he would be trying to side with Ukraine because he wanted his son, Biden's son, to be investigated. I think it would be more on Ukraine's side. The thing that would have prevented that whole war in Ukraine is diplomacy.
Putin's been saying it for years, decades. Ukraine is not to join. What is NATO?
Yeah,
that's all he wanted.
They got two.
That's what Putin's been saying.
Yeah,
they're in bed with Ukraine too much. United States. It's just,
Ukrainians are like Russian blood. That's what happened in Ukraine. Is like California breaking away from the United States and wants to join, let's say,
China
or Russia. That's equivalent what Ukraine is trying to do.
The United States would invade California. It
Right?
would be in our best interest.
If California wants to be a part of Russia, what is the USA going to do?
Well,
They're going to invade California because they don't want Russia sitting right there with all their arsenal.
They don't want communism on that doorstep like that.
No.
It makes
NATO. They
perfect
don't want
sense,
NATO
but
on their
I
doorstep.
don't think what's going on in Ukraine is good by any stretch of
What
imagination.
do you mean by that? Who doesn't want communism on their doorstep?
The United States.
Got it. I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? California turns to a communist country. They go with Soviet Union. USA is going to invade California. That's why I'm not siding with any side, by the way, but I'm just giving you the reasons why Russia did what they did.
Yeah.
That's why they did it. If diplomacy would have came in,
Yeah. A leader. If somebody leader,
Yeah.
like maybe Trump, maybe I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong, but somebody sitting down talking to both sides, they don't like this, we can't do this, but we can do this. If they just had 3 men, I mean, it shouldn't even come to the
there's people dying in Ukraine right
yeah,
now.
it shouldn't even come
It's
to
like,
war anymore
why is
because
it?
nowadays these wars, nobody wins none of these wars.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you go to war nowadays, like it's not like back World War II, World War I. People actually won those wars. These wars that we have now, nobody wins. those
Nobody
wars.
wins.
So when Russia invaded Ukraine, it could have been so many things done to prevent from this ever happening.
Well, the greatest analogy these days, it's essentially a proxy war. The entire world is galvanized. I mean, I say the entire world, the entire Western world, United States, the EU, other countries are basically using Ukraine as a proxy war because nobody wants to see Russia succeed. Ironically, the Russian economy, I think GDP was actually positive during this war because they've escalating gas prices.
The
around
whole
world.
situation is weird. Okay, you're funding Ukraine for the war, but you were buying gas or oil from Russia. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why can't we just be financially independent? I don't understand why we gotta get involved with all these skirmishes across and it's just poor
Speaking of
leadership.
skirmishes, you saw what Biden had to say about obviously Ukraine and continuing to fund Ukraine, but you saw what he said about Taiwan and China. How did you process that, Pat?
Which part of it?
Where basically said if
That's the 60
China
Minutes interview?
yeah, 60
Yeah.
Minutes interview.
That Taiwan thing is
if
scary.
China invades Taiwan, would you send American troops to Taiwan? He said yes, and I think the interviewer asked it again. He said yes, he would defend Taiwan.
But did you also hear what he said when he said yes many times, and then he said,
Yes.
"What would you do to Russia?" He says, "If I know, I wouldn't tell you. I would
Correct.
tell you what I'm going to be doing."
By the way, I respect that.
yeah, I like that answer a
Okay.
lot. But there's a part where he says, "Is the worst of the economy ahead of us?" No, it's
Right.
behind us. You can't say that because
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But what the hell would you expect him to say? Yeah, worse times are coming.
But what you're supposed to say is be straight up, like what you're supposed to do. We don't know. We're going to find out. If we make some of the right choices, we're going to find out what's going to be taking place rather than saying a flat no. But I do want to say something here about what's going on during with what you guys are talking about. You're saying Trump, would he support this? Would he support that? A couple things happened just recently with Armenia. Tyler, if you can pull up that one tweet. So here's very important for us to don't put it on the screen yet until I kind of explain what happened. So in the last week, Azerbaijan troops attack Armenia. Armenia has a prime minister, Pashinyan. So attack Armenia. A couple hundred soldiers die. There's a lady named Anush, which you see the story circulating all over the place, who the Azerbaijani military apparently took her. They, raped her. They took her eyes out. They put rocks there. They took out her fingers, put her in her mouth. And this story is going all over the place. And another soldier, Armenian soldier, this has been happening constantly. Now, when somebody says stories like this, a lot of friends from Azerbaijan will say, how could you say that? You're selling us at evil people and pa. No problem. Fine. Let's speculate together as a person who's Armenian, who which side I'm going to lean on. And I quite frankly don't even think that Pashinyan is the right leader in the country right now, because while you're doing this, everything's about alliances you create. Look at Israel. Israel created alliances with America. You went and were bought out by China, and then Russia is supporting you in a way, but they kind of run Armenia. You're not really the president, the prime minister of Armenia. It's really Russia, but Russia's also playing politics for a couple different reasons. So watch what happens. Turkey.
Yeah.
This is the part where a person like Putin has a good argument, not necessarily Putin, some people who are from the side that they're saying NATO's playing games. This is what a Turkish member of parliament just said a couple days ago. I want you to play it, and then I'm going to read what it translates to. He just said this on September 15th, okay? Play it, put the audio up, and then I'll say exactly what he's saying to you. Go ahead and press play. So here's a message. I don't know if you're getting the audio or not.
Start it over, Tyler.
Okay, if you're getting it, don't worry about it. You can go watch us on Twitter. Here's what he says. We say to the Armenian administration, make up your mind. I remind you once again that the Turkish nation has the power to erase Armenia from history, geography, and that they stand at the limit of our patience. This is a member of parliament from Turkey. Turkey is part of NATO. If a message like this is being given, this is like somebody from Germany saying, hey, Israel, if you guys make a comment, don't let us remind you of what we did to you guys back in the days with this. And guess what? This guy, can you go up to his Twitter account, please? Go straight to his Twitter account. You have his handle. He's active on Twitter. That's him. So he just said this 3 days ago. This guy's still active on Twitter. FYI, I am not imposing for a guy like this to be banned. I want people like this on Twitter. Do you know why? Because people can get to see that these types of people exist, and you can make a decision for yourself. So now, I want to give a shout out to somebody. Nancy Pelosi. I rarely will give a shout out to Nancy Pelosi, but today's one of them. Nancy Pelosi, to me, is 10 times more presidential than Joe Biden or Kamala Harris is. Now, forget about politics. Forget how you feel about any of these three characters here. Let me just tell you what I mean by this. Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan, and China said, if you do show up, look what we're going to do to you. She still went.
Yep.
Nancy Pelosi, in the middle of all this challenges faced between Armenia and Azerbaijan, she goes to Armenia and spends a day there with a couple of the political leaders that went with her, Armenian folks that went with her, and she goes, pays her respect for what's going on. Now, here's the part. Yesterday, I go on Fox News YouTube channel. I go on MSNBC YouTube channel. I go on CNN YouTube channel. I type in CNN Armenia. You know what you see? This much. I go type Fox Armenia. This much. Pelosi goes to Armenia. Nothing's talked about, right? So Turkey has got Azerbaijan's back, okay? Turkey is a part of NATO, and they made this threat. And what does Erdogan say? Going around saying, we're going to do whatever we're going to do to Armenia. We can make you guys erase. And this, parliament member can say what he can say, and they stay on. So moral of the story is the following. You got a Biden. Kamala Harris was just asked, is the border safe? Did you see her response?
Yeah.
Where they asked the question, so is the border safe? And I don't know if you got the video, if you can pull it up, because the video was just absolutely ludicrous on what she's saying. Like, you can't even sit there and process it and say, did she really just say that? Tyler, I don't know if you got it up or not. You look like you're going through all of them. Yeah, okay, watch this answer here. Very weird.
The border is secure, but we also have a broken immigration system, in particular over the last 4 years before we came
Refresh, because
and it needs to be fixed.
He asked a question. Okay, he asked a question first, and then it goes. Okay.
Secure. But we also have a broken immigration system, in particular over the last 4 years before we came in, and it needs to be fixed.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border's secure?
Listen to her answer.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
You know, when I hear her give that answer, all she's thinking about is, how is this going to be written about in the paper? Mm-hmm. How is this going to be cut? So what can I do to give the right answer where I'm not going to be judged for it? FYI, listen, people say Nancy plays politics. Everybody plays politics. Guess what? You play politics. I want the person playing politics to go to Armenia. I want the person playing politics to go to Taiwan. I want this person playing politics to go to the border. So you don't want to go to the border? Guess what? They brought the border to you. Did you see all these people coming off the bus in front of her house? What'd you think about that when you saw that with Kamal?
I loved it. I mean, if you stand by those policies, if you're a sanctuary city, why wouldn't you welcome these people in and provide for them? But I think in Martha's Vineyard, they actually deported them with the National Guard. Like, how can you say you pro-sanctuary city, but if you, as soon as we send you some people, because I know these border cities in Texas, I think they're overwhelmed. So if you're a sanctuary city and you stand by those policies, why wouldn't you welcome these people in your communities, your neighborhoods, and help them just like the red states are doing or like Florida's doing? I mean, one state can't take but so many immigrants into the country before they, become overwhelmed.
And did you hear when they said Martha's Vineyard isn't prepared like the southern border of Texas is for these number of migrants? And they're like, what are you talking about?
It's like 50.
You got 50. They got 2 million.
Obama's got plenty of room.
Yeah. And then they
Oprah's
said,
got plenty of
why don't you open your place to let them live, stay a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about that. We're not going to respond to that one,
Hey, you can take some in too, right?
But so, question for you: I don't think what DeSantis did is all good or all bad. Meaning, they're like with everything we're discussing. By the way, whether it's Pelosi, and I got to give respect to Pat right now. Yeah, we're so easily
All I'm saying
vilifying.
is she is way more
Yes.
presidential than Kamala and Biden.
But they don't air things like this on TV, on Fox or CNN, because you can't politicize it. You can't use it to earn votes. It's not
What?
it's a non-story to
What's going
everybody
on?
in
What
the
is?
United States.
Armenia.
Yeah.
Oh, the Armenia story. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm talking about Martha's Vineyard. On one side, it's good for DeSantis. He needs to stand up and draw attention to what the hell's going on at the border, and he's kind of trolling the Gavin Newsoms of the world, the Kamalas of the world, and the Obamas of the world. And then the other side, you kind of have the left saying, listen, he's just playing politics here. Basically, he's using immigrants as political pawns, essentially. And then if you're in Florida, these are Venezuelan. A lot of people what they sent, I think there are 50 people, Tyler. They were all Venezuelan.
Venezuela.
No, I can't tell you how many. I mean, I'm born and raised in Miami. How many Cubans and Venezuelans are just they've come here basically looking for a better life.
What's your point? What's
My
your point
point
when
is
you're
this:
saying
is that
DeSantis is right and wrong?
what I'm saying is that that it's not all right or all wrong.
Why is it wrong? Tell me why it's wrong.
Okay, well, if you're in Florida,
Yeah.
okay, and I assume that that DeSantis is running again for the governor of Florida. My question is could this backfire? I happen to think that he's going to beat Charlie Crist handily, right? That's who's running
Right.
against.
If he don't beat that guy.
Okay, correct.
Yeah.
However,
How can
If-
it backfire? Go ahead.
okay, if you're Hispanic,
Yeah.
and you see, and maybe you're undecided because again, Florida's a purple state. It's not like it's 70-30. It's kind of closer to 55-45. Is this something that a Hispanic will look at and say, yeah, this doesn't sit well with me? Again, we're in South Florida. We're in
Yeah,
Florida.
but
We're in
here's
Miami.
the difference. Here's
Could
the
this
difference.
backfire?
No, because the guy's running for. This guy's running for president.
No, but he needs to win governor
I
first.
totally get that. Chris is you think Charlie Crist is like it's like you're thinking like a. Anyways, okay,
No,
everybody's.
I'm already one step ahead of you.
I-
I'm with you 100%. I think DeSantis is going to beat
I
Crist.
get that,
So
but
did
here's-
he need this?
But here's the part.
Could this
though.
potentially
Let
hurt
me
him?
explain to you what this does to America. Okay, for 2 years, how long has Kamala and Biden been the president and the VP? How long has it been?
2 years.
2 years. For how long have the people been asking for her to go to the border? And she's the border Czar. How long, Czar? How long has she gone to? How long have they been asking for this? 2 years. Has she gone yet? No. Well, guess what? If you don't go to the problem, don't worry. I'm going to bring it to you. And America says, thank God for a ballsy leader like that to put them in the corner and say, what are you going to do about it now?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it now? Let's see how you're going to react to it now. Now, they were not expecting this. They've lost their minds.
Yeah.
DC, Martha's Vineyards, they've lost their minds. Chicago, they don't even know how to handle a situation like this.
They look
and they're
like
winning.
hypocrites.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the whole point why DeSantis, that's why the governor of Texas did what they did. You're all about immigration until it's on your doorstep. They just want to show the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party. And that's a lot of Democrat voters don't see that hypocrisy. And that's all on air for everybody to see.
But I do think a lot of people are starting to see it, though. Remember, you don't need 50% to flip.
Yeah.
I do think there is
You
a
like 3?
5%. Yeah, you need 3%. I do think there's people that are sitting there saying, well, babe, did you see that? Kind of does make sense. Look at the way they're reacting. You're calling they're calling the reserve. They're calling for 50 people, and these guys are dealing with 2 million. Look at the pictures. They're not even saying anything. Even on 60 Minutes, even everybody on the left, these are on the left. They're asking them the questions about the border, and Kamala can't even answer the question. I don't know. I think we got a problem here.
Yeah,
So-
Trump's a racist, he's xenophobic. Now
Yeah.
look what they're doing.
Exactly.
That xenophobic or racist, it's just opening up people's eyes.
Well,
That's why Republicans are being better politicians now, as in Texas and Florida.
And to be a better politician, you got to be 2 steps in front of your opponent.
Yeah.
So
And FYI, for you, Adam, you got to know that, Florida doesn't have illegal immigration as much as Texas and California and Arizona does.
Correct.
It's you were born the people that come here, immigrants are dying to be here.
Well, Cuban refugees and raps. I've seen it my
and
whole
I'm
life.
not saying folks on the other side are not. They're also going through a lot of sacrifices. I've said this many times. If I was somebody that's living down and I'm seeing what the mafia is doing and I'm living in Mexico in some of these cities, I'm also going to figure out a way to come up and bring my kids here, even if it costs my lives. I'm doing that. But that's not the point. The point here is that it is a different situation. I love the fact that he's bringing a problem to them, and hey, how you want to react to it? People have to.
Let me pose a different question.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think, like, you're an immigrant? Okay. You were not born in America, right? You guys were born in America. Okay. My family, Russian immigrants that fled basically the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917, whatever. But do you think I wholeheartedly believe that immigrants should be propped up and appreciated more than they are. I don't know. I'm saying left, right.
You came through the front door. Your family
Correct.
came through the front door.
Correct.
He came through the front door.
Correct.
These people not coming through the front door.
Correct. And that's my point. But I guess my question is, do you think that we're villainizing these immigrants when they're looking for...
Because when you come into a country illegally, you're automatically a criminal. Like we had some comedy shows in London. Our visa wasn't right. They arrested us. They had us in the immigration
in
hole.
London. We was in immigration jail in London.
Had four sold out shows.
Yeah. Had us divided. We couldn't even talk to each other. Had us in cages.
Yeah.
Literally.
In London. Yes.
How long ago was this?
This was a couple years before the pandemic hit.
Got it.
Yeah. So all borders you should not have an open border. And the way they let these people in, I'm all about people coming here.
Yeah,
if they're fleeing crime, things of that nature, and they come in and say, "Hey, I'm running, being persecuted in my own country," and you come through our back door the way they're doing, I'm all for that. But a majority of these people are just coming here because they just want a better life, and I'm under the understanding that you don't fit the parameters or the prerequisites of even coming into our country.
To seek asylum, you don't
seek asylum.
That's.
But by the way, I want to read to you what Hillary Clinton said about this whole situation. Hillary Clinton says, Martha's Vineyard situation is literally human trafficking. No one wants open borders. On Friday, Hillary Clinton agreed with an MSNBC Morning Joe host assessment that the sending of 50 migrants to Martha's Vineyards was human trafficking. She added that nobody wants open borders who has any idea of how government and countries work, but nobody wants inhumane, terrible treatment of human beings either. What we should have been doing is to come together to reform, change, and better fund the system by which we deal with these issues. But some people like Governor Abbott of Texas would rather have an issue than be a part of the solution. I'm sorry, Hillary Clinton. How about holding Kamala accountable to going to the border?
They were doing the same thing before the Republican governors start doing that. They were doing the same thing. They were flying around.
You made a great point. You think we villainizing immigrants and we're using them as political pawns. That's a great point, but the Democrats have been using them as a political pawn the entire time.
That's how we got here.
That's how we got here, yeah.
Including,
but I totally understand where you come from. They're already political pawns because most of these people should have been turned away before they even get here. You can't even come through. From what I might be wrong on this, but if you're seeking asylum in a country, you have to first apply to the country you enter, and then you progressively get to the United States. A lot of these people are breaking all kinds of international laws.
We lived in Germany at a refugee camp for a year and a half before we came to the States. Literally at a refugee camp in Germany for a year and a half. And then we finally, the day we got our green card to come here, man, we were doing backflips.
Yeah.
So when we knew we were going to be coming here, it was like the happiest day of my life. November 28, 1990 is when we came here. But I will never forget that day.
You made it.
Never. I'm telling you, I will never,
How
ever.
about you? How about you?
Me what?
His family came here. He was born here.
Oh, you was born here.
Yeah,
Oh, you
American.
lucky. You lucky.
I know.
Yeah. I'm lucky
I know.
too. Yeah.
I'm very lucky.
Just real
Born
quick,
in America.
Pat, I think he made a good point that it's all about the message, right? That's what you said. Everything is about the message, right? It's not very often I do this, but I have to agree with Adam in that two wrongs don't make a right. I understand 100% what Desantis did. I get why he did it, the backlash he did. He's proven they're hypocrites, everything. But now look at how this is being flipped on him, right? Now he's the human trafficker. Nobody gives a shit that they've been flying illegal immigrants to 49 states across the country to flip them. Nobody cares. Who does he have to win if he wants to run for president? The suburban women, right? What do the suburban women look at and say when they see this? Ron DeSantis is a horrible person. This is a very Trumpian move of him, and he has to be careful because he's playing with fire.
Yeah,
This
they
could
love
backfire on
those women. They love Newsom.
Right. Well, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom could be president in 2024 because nobody pays attention to policies anymore. Right? It's a popularity contest.
But I think for most of us,
Clearly, look at AOC.
yeah, I think,
I mean,
I think for the most part, when they say human trafficking, it's not human trafficking. That's hyperbole. You know?
It's all hyperbole.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to look that far into it. Nobody's going to take it past
Yeah, I know
surface
most
level.
people don't. You're right.
And
You're absolutely
listen,
right.
I get what he did, and I think
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
The idea of it is great, right? I agree with it, but he has to be very careful because he's playing with fire, and he's giving them the message to
What's
flip
the
on him.
alternative, though? Well, let me ask you a question. What do leaders do? You guys want a bunch of pansies that are marketers?
Yeah, but this doesn't. What does this do? This doesn't
this
solve
does a
the
lot.
problem.
Let me tell you, if I'm on the southern border, I'm sitting there saying, thank God he did it, and he ain't even in my state. Now, I want a leader, bro. I don't know what world you guys are living in. I'm not trying to get if you want to get a CMO as a president, you're not looking for the right guy. DeSantis ain't a CMO. You can get a lot of different people to be that job. You want a leader to be the president. Look, half the reason why the mess is taking place right now with Ukraine, potentially Taiwan, that could potentially happen soon, is because ain't nobody afraid of America today. So I don't mind that he's flexing his muscles. By the way, FYI, you have to understand this other part. There is risks to you choosing to be a leader. There is risks. There's risks to you showing that you're a true leader. There is a very risk to you being a tough father. There is risks to you being a high expectation type of a dad. There's risks to you being a guy that expects a lot from people. My kids are going to baseball. My son is going to baseball practice right now, and this place is going. I'm standing on the sidelines just watching to see how these guys coach the kids. And I see, hey, you don't come out. Hey, you didn't do this? Run 2 laps. Hey, boom, 5 push-ups. Hey, you dropped the ball? 5 push-ups. Hey, you didn't do this? Go run over here. At the end of the 2-hour practice, these guys are sweating. You know what I said on the sidelines? He's in the right place. These are real coaches coaching these guys. They're tough. No, listen, at the end of the day, I don't care about optics. I want a leader today. America is desperately looking for a leader. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling DeSantis to go on a podcast and smoke weed to win some people that are going to vote for him. I'm not telling you that. He's not going to be doing that.
I actually respect him for that.
But the fact that this guy's got the audacity to go out there and do things like that, he's showing I can help solve a lot, not only Florida's problems, because people, track record-wise, give me one governor's resume. FYI, did you just see what just happened? Let me just give you guys a stat here. Does anybody know who just broke the record for the most money ever raised by a governor in the history of America? It's a guy named DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
So he just broke the record for the most money ever raised by a governor in the history of America. His name is Ron DeSantis. How does that happen? People from other states are supporting this guy. They ain't even in here. People from other states. So if a guy's going to take a risk like that, I'm for you taking risks, because quite frankly, too many people on all the other sides are playing it way too safe. I want a real leader today. I want a real leader that's going to go out there. So let's continue this conversation with a Newsom call out on what Newsom just said. So Newsom just came out and said the following, which is on page 4. Newsom. Okay, California Governor Gavin Newsom challenges Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to debate. This is a CBS story. On Friday, Newsom tweeted, if you want to put it up and zoom in a little bit, Tyler, so we can see this. Hey, Ron DeSantis, clearly you're struggling, distracted, and busy playing politics with people's lives since you have an only overriding need, attention. Let's take this up and debate. I'll bring my hair gel and you bring your hairspray. Name the time before Election Day. And he tags CNN, right? So he puts this tweet, and then on Thursday, Newsom called for an investigation into Republican governors sending busloads of migrants of Democratic states to protest the Biden administration immigration policies. In a tweet, Newsom specifically called out DeSantis and Texas Governor Abbott over their cruel policy of busing migrants out of their states to cities with Democratic mayors as part of a political strategy. Do you have DeSantis' response? Did you find that one or no? So when you saw this, what was your first reaction when you saw Newsom say this, Adam?
Well, I think this is a tale of two cities, basically. Best of times, worst of times. I mean, this has been kind of coming this way for a while, where basically you have the free state of Florida and the lockdown state of California, and you have the two figureheads, whether you like them or not. These are basically, the Gen X version of the current presidency right now. Biden and Trump in their 70s. Biden's about to be 80. Here are two guys in their, DeSantis is 44 at the oldest? How old is Newsom? He's late 40s?
Yeah.
I think this is on the upswing, and I think basically we've seen a lot of recruiting. I think, didn't DeSantis put up a massive outdoor billboard basically calling out DeSantis? We have two governors calling each other out.
Right.
And it remains to be seen. I'd love to see this debate. I think the whole world would want to see this debate.
This is a presidential debate, if you ask me. But go ahead.
Newsom is an opportunist. And I mean,
Just
that
like
with-
Beto O'Rourke.
I just like when Beto, when the gun violence down in Texas, he took advantage of that because he's running for governor.
Yeah.
He has presidential dreams, and he's an opportunist, and I mean that in the most negative connotation ever. He doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff. He just wants to become president. So keep talking, I'm choking.
This is the beauty of having a twin brother that looks just like you and have the exact same opinions. You could be choking and your brother just picks up the ball and goes with it. Go.
And he's spending a lot of money that was donated to him, right, for these billboards, because he doesn't have to worry about spending money in California, because that's just, majority of that, even though that whole state is red for the most part, it's San Francisco, L.A., make that whole state blue. He doesn't have to worry about, losing seats to to Republicans, because that state is just blue from those two major cities.
Why do you think DeSantis keeps getting elected even during the recall? I mean, he was the mayor of San Francisco. That place has turned into an absolute shithole.
Right.
Okay.
You
Then
said
he
it right
becomes
there.
governor of California. We've seen what's going on. I think they have the first year ever, Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, they had a net loss in immigration. People that moving the fuck out of California.
Yeah.
He has the recall. He beats Larry Handler easily.
I don't understand
how do they keep voting for this
how
guy?
these election results come in. It's just weird. It's like, how do Democrats have that much power in one state?
Well, I mean, it's the most liberal state in the country. I'm not shocked.
I'm not convinced that it is, though, because when we do comedy shows out there, people turn out there as if I'm in Florida.
Really?
Yes.
How recent?
I mean, we have, we was up in
I forget that city.
Bakersfield and the other.
Well, the
Sacramento.
these are conservative cities
Well,
within a
Brea,
liberal state.
California, like whenever we go anywhere in California, it sells out. I mean, fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what's the population? I think there's 40 million people in California. I mean, there's going to be, if 1/3 of California is Republican,
So
you still got 15 million people that you
Here's my thoughts on the Newsom
go for it.
DeSantis debate. Okay, so for me, I could care less about being at a CNN format. Newsom, here's my suggestion to you. Choose a podcast format, go for 3 hours, okay? And do it this way. You come to us, okay?
There you go.
We will guarantee 3 hours. We'll guarantee minimum $1 million to both just to participate to your campaign. We'll do a super chat. People will be able to call in, all that other stuff. But it shouldn't be 2 minutes. Oh, stop. No, okay. No, none of that
Exactly,
stuff.
yeah.
I want to see if Newsom can talk for 10 minutes with an answer, and I want to see if DeSantis can give a long answer. So what do you think about the issues that we're facing? And let it be a different kind of a format. You'll get the money's worth. I wouldn't go to CNN. I wouldn't go to Fox. I would go to a podcast. Pick and choose a 3-hour podcast. A lot of people do it. Just last week, we broke the record for the longest podcast to go, whatever it was for the week. We got 5.5 million views on
we crossed
a
5 million,
5-hour podcast. Got 200 million minutes watched on this one podcast that we got last week that went out on Tuesday or Monday. I don't know what it was.
Tuesday, correct.
Right after show. I'd love to. If it's not us, choose somebody else. Okay, pick somebody else, but have the sit down, because if you guys are gonna do the traditional way, I have zero interest in watching it. I would love to see a bigger move in campaigns going. Like, I'd love to see those guys sitting down with a Rogan. Okay, sitting down over here, sitting down in a place where it's 3 hours, a good moderator. Ask, challenge each other, and let's see what it's going to look like.
Yeah, any other format is just disingenuous. It's not enough time. It's
fake.
You're not giving. It's totally fake.
Yeah.
It's rigged.
How can you have you having an open conversation with somebody, but they're on your side and they're just throwing you softball questions the whole time?
Yeah.
It's just because I don't trust anything for the most part on TV, because you have to double check everything you heard.
Yeah.
And by the way, the cool thing about this kind of a format is, if you tell a lie, the audience in the chat box, they're going to go off the live chat.
Right.
So versus when they're doing it there's not, everybody has to, but everyone's like, oh my God, did you hear what they said? It's a very different format that a lot of these guys fear. They're not comfortable doing that.
Yeah,
they would much rather be in a controlled environment where they get to control the question.
They come on a podcast, it's like a brawl.
Yeah,
but that's what America deserves.
This is what America
That's what America
wants, though.
deserves.
Exactly. Why do you
Yeah.
think podcasts are blowing up?
Yeah. Right.
Why do you think there's such a yearning for just free talking?
Yeah.
When we were contemplating putting the Tate out, the interview out, we were like, do we want to do it in like 3 segments? You another part? Pat goes, fuck it, go the whole 5 hours. We're like, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And we didn't know. We didn't know what would happen.
But that's
But there's
why,
a yearning for just open dialogue and open thought without being filtered and up 2 minutes. Sorry, you got to stop talking now.
But that's why Newsom would never come on this or any other podcast. You can see the comments. You can see everybody's commentary. Like when you go to YouTube and look at a Biden video when he first got elected, even though he got over 80 million votes, all the dislikes, everything was more dislikes than likes. Even on CNN or MSNBC's YouTube channel. What did YouTube do? They did away with that dislike button.
Yeah.
What are they hiding? He's got over 80 million votes. These people if he's got 80 million voters, they should come out and stand up for this guy. That's why he'll never come on here. Because it's going to be in the comments.
I have an idea.
Everybody's going to see it.
What do you think about a $100,000 gift card to French Laundry? Tyler, what do you think about that? We have a nice $100,000 gift card to French Laundry. And he may show up. Lifetime supply. Eat there for the rest of your life. I'll cover the bill. Every time you go and just say, this is on Patrick Bet David. This is on Patrick Bet David.
I have a theory on why L.A. or California keeps voting for Gavin Newsom. And I realized this was a month or so ago. This was right around July 4th, where I watched, again, back to the Newsom Desantis debate situation going on. Desantis did his whole, what was it, Top Gov, where it was basically right when the movie Top Gun came back out. He kind of, he kind of did his whole thing, and I gave it a C+. It wasn't exactly like, it didn't wow me, but I get it. He was doing his thing. Okay. I kind of thought he used the Top Gun and his kid. I mean, he was a lawyer in the Marines or in the Navy, right? He wasn't actually in the Navy. Let's get fucking real here, all right? He wasn't a Marine. Right. All right, I give him a C+. And then I saw what Gavin Newsom had to say on July 4th, and it was the most scripted, plastic, Hollywood manufactured, non-charismatic thing I've ever seen. And I'm not a Californian. I don't follow Newsom like that.
Yeah.
Pat follows it a lot closer because he, much like you, lived in California for 20 years, 15 years.
It was full of lies.
And I was just like, and I just gave DeSantis a C+. Okay, great, whatever. This one commercial. And then I saw Newsom's fake plastic bullshit. Hi, here in California. I'm like, get this freaking Ken doll out of my face.
Yeah, it comes off like he's reading a teleprompter.
But that's what I realize is that California is the land of plastic Hollywood fakeness. And they're like, that's exactly what we've embraced for decades now. And that's maybe why it just... it gives me the American Psycho vibes.
Yeah, when you listen to a Democrat, they sound a lot like Obama. The mannerisms he do, the smile, the hand gestures, and it's just you've seen it so many times. Even with Bill Clinton, he had that same demeanor to him. And when you look at DeSantis or Trump, you can tell it's not scripted. It's just coming from right here in the heart, the way they look, that hand gestures. It's just everything just comes out so more genuine than when you see.
Yeah, but brother, Newsom is no Obama or Clinton. Okay, they are 100 times realer than that dude. And I'm not saying that they weren't, playing politics, but Newsom is in a fake category of his own, like I've never seen. Bring the hair gel. Let's go. Yeah. PBD, yes, sir.
Let's go into that Kim Kardashian story, which if you
Speaking
can pull
of
up
Hollywood and
Instagram.
fake, let's go.
Yeah, I just heard about that the other day.
Did you see her Instagram post? That's a picture right there she posted. And she said, I'm excited to be part of Hillary and Chelsea Clinton's incredible journey to find out what it truly means to be gutsy.
What?
Stream the docuseries now on Apple TV. You didn't see this?
I didn't see this.
Okay, so watch this. Go into the commentary. See what her audience is. 330 million followers. Look what they're saying about it. Bad, no, yikes, shaking my head, nah, sis, no, what, LOL, sick, that's a bummer, laughing my ass off, bye, nope, pizza, gag, nope, sus, this ain't it, God, what are you doing? This is embarrassing. But by the way, this is what's crazy about it. 100% of the comments I just read.
Yeah.
Guys, this is and it's not like Kim Kardashian is a Republican or a Democrat.
Right.
Kim is right in the middle.
Yeah.
Her followers should be supporting Forbes International 2021 Woman of the Year. Okay, but they're not. So click a little bit more. Maybe this is just, I don't know. Maybe go a little lower and let's continue. So keep.
There you go.
Look what I said. This was I forgot I commented here. It looks like Hillary's 2024 campaign for presidency is starting early. She's in campaign mode. Yep. By the way, stay there. I fully think she is, because you know what Bill Clinton just did? The last time he did his, you know how he does this event every year? You know the Bill Clinton event he does every year?
Global Initiative.
Yeah, Clinton
or
Global Initiative thing. You know when's the last time he did it? You know when's the last time they put the event together?
2016.
2016. And they just brought it back up in 2022. This woman smells opportunity for being a president, and she's using her, not in a negative way, this is being plain politics, she's bringing Chelsea along to not only get her more eyeballs because she's one they're going to run, but to also connect with the younger audience, and they're going to places like this. The other day, she did another podcast with somebody young. I don't know who it was. But anyways, I think she's campaigning right now. Look at the next one.
So.
100%. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
This is a dream of hers to be a president. Hard pass.
How
Unlike
much they pay you?
how much they pay you. Well, now we know more about you. Kim, no. Pizza. Kim, did you ask the pantsuit what happened to those 33,000 emails? And again, going back to it, you would think 50% would support
Exactly.
this.
Right.
But 100% doesn't
Look at the
support
likes
this
they're
right
getting
here.
on the comments too.
Exactly.
That's the big one,
2,000,
right?
5,000, 3,000. So what do you think about this when you see this? Is this a who wins here? Does Hillary and Chelsea win here, or does Kim Kardashian win here?
They all lose.
They all lose. That's like me and Keith sitting down with Mitt Romney or Dick Cheney.
You wouldn't do it.
Hell no. They could pay me $10 million. I'll never
Come on,
What's
Kevin.
all three of these people are tone deaf.
Yeah. Because my brand is all about your reputations. It's all about what you did in your last video. You could lose that like that.
I have an idea on why I think she did this.
Yeah,
I have an
please
idea why
explain
she
it
did
to
this.
me. I have no idea.
So,
This is
okay,
shocking.
now stay with me here. She was just on the Late Late Show with James Corden, right? And she said, if I'm going to be back in the dating, scene, I want to date a lawyer or a scientist or something like that. And by the way, I'm actually a fan of hers. I think she's, their family are great marketers. They know how to tell the story and all this other stuff.
Right.
Of course, the way everyone knows the story, the video, all that stuff. But go back to the picture. Go back to the picture. Here's what maybe. Let's speculate. Who did she just get a divorce from?
Kanye.
And who would Kanye ever do a podcast with Hillary and Chelsea?
There you go.
If Kanye was to ever do a podcast, he would do it with
So you're
Trump.
calling Kim a troll of the highest order.
I'm calling Kim is really trying to get under Kanye's nerves because behind closed doors, I'm convinced Kim knows Kanye cannot stand this lady. So I don't know. I may be wrong, but
No,
I
I think you're absolutely right.
Huh?
I think you're
that's-
absolutely
Here
right.
we go. That's my
You know
speculation.
what? I was thinking the same thing when she started dating Pete. What was his name? Pete Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, how you go from Kanye to a comedian?
To Skeet.
yeah.
Yeah.
He got replaced by a guy named Marcelo, which is a million times better comedian, but that's a completely different conversation.
Shout out to Marcelo, my guy.
Oh my God! So, and by the way, apparently they had a what? Didn't they have like a back and forth of a lawyer? What is? They had a contest. Kim Kardashian beat Hillary Clinton in a legal quiz. Their knowledge on law, and apparently she took him out. I don't know. Chelsea, who acted as the official quizzer, first asked a question about the use of deadly force. Kardashian buzzed in quickly before expecting answering the inquiry. After a few more rounds of queries, we see Kardashian beat Hillary Clinton by a landslide, 11-4. The former presidential candidate later told the publication that it was quite a humbling experience. Oh, it was heartbreaking. Well, I was also really intrigued by how well she did. I wanted to put the spotlight on her. Not that she needs it, but she worked really hard. Okay. So there's something going on there. But if you see more and more of her, I can tell you for a fact which podcast she's not going to be doing. I can tell you for a fact where she will not go. You ready? She ain't going to Zach Galifianakis. There is no way.
Between two ferns. Amazing.
There is
Yeah,
no
between two ferns.
she ain't going to that podcast. She says, we have to take a break for our, what is it called, our sponsor. This is Donald Trump. Do you remember that when in the middle of it, he plays a Donald Trump? I'm Donald Trump and I endorse this message. He's like, why would you do that? He's the ultimate troll. Can you pull up the DeSantis story of Yahoo, what I just said earlier? I don't know if you have it or not. When I said DeSantis is about to break a record for the most money raised. If you can find this article there, watch this here. Florida Ron DeSantis on the cusp raising more money than any governor ever. Okay, ever. See,
That's huge.
That's huge. So this is you're talking to a guy that's, you're talking to a guy that everything he did, the anti-gay law, that was risky. The allowing people to play, that was risky. The no mask needed, that was risky. The going after the teachers, that was risky. The what he did with Disney, that was risky.
Right.
The what he did to remove the tax benefits of Disney World,
Right.
that was. Do you know how much risk this guy has taken in the last 3 years? And every time he keeps coming ahead. I talked to a how do you describe? Like, we can't say the name, just so you know. So don't say her name. Is this a big actress or not? The Hollywood.
Yes.
How big
Very-
would you say
Top 10 female
of all
actress?
time? Of all time, okay. So her and I are communicating with each other, and I said, I'd love for you to come to Florida. Okay, I'd love to break bread, and I'd love to potentially. And we follow each other's content. She follows me. She said, I would never come to Florida. Why won't you come to Florida? You want me to come to Florida to see what Desantis did to the state of Florida?
She was being real.
She wasn't messing around about not wanting to come to a place like this. So to California, Florida is like a reckless state to be in. For people who live in Florida, let me tell you, people love living in Florida. Okay, there is no disputing that. Of course, there's going to be some of our friends that Nikki Fried will come here and say there's people that don't want to be in Florida, but there's a lot of people that love being in the state here.
Yeah.
Florida. So are you guys planning on staying where you're at? Is Nevada going to be a place to be at long term?
No, that's turned into a shithole. California's coming over. We're looking at Texas or here in Florida.
Florida, here in Florida. Well, if you did come out here to Florida, we would probably do a lot of stuff together if you came down here.
Yeah.
Can I sell you on Florida for 1 minute?
Yeah.
So what do you like about Texas over Florida? Tell me the difference between Texas. If you go to Texas, where would you go in Texas? Would you go Austin?
Dallas Cowboys. I'm a Dallas Cowboys.
Are you
fan.
really?
Yeah.
But
I
Texas, real property taxes there is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Florida's great, but we was just eating at Wendy's and this freaking lizard came out.
Yeah, there's lizards
It was
everywhere.
huge, and it was just sitting there looking at me.
Yeah, that's
They look like a damn
iguana.
Komodo dragon.
Yeah,
It
we
was
got-
that big.
we
I was
got
like,
iguanas.
What the hell is going
They
on?
don't attack you. They don't do
That's-
anything.
They iguanas.
They won't
don't-
do nothing
no,
to
they
you.
can do
Huge.
nothing.
It came out of the tree.
Yeah.
I was like,
Nah.
what the fuck?
These are lizards on steroids, bro.
They won't do
Lizards on
nothing.
steroids.
It's got all these colors.
That's it
Like,
right there.
That's the
it.
guy.
yes,
These
I'm
guys-
not seeing.
We at Wendy's and this fucker comes out.
Nah, these guys look scary, but they're soft.
They won't do nothing to you. They won't do
Wow.
nothing. So why else do you like Dallas? What else do you like about Dallas? Because, by the way, Dallas is both of these. You're choosing top two. Okay, I would probably put Nashville in it as well. But why Dallas over Florida?
Well, it's like 50-50 right now.
Are you guys 50-50
It's
right now?
50-50.
It's not one or the other.
Yeah.
My wife loves
That was almost a deal breaker until you explained that.
You're like, how do people live in
dragon.
Florida? They got Komodo dragons
this
everywhere.
thing,
You got dinosaurs
I
running
saw
around.
a Komodo dragon eat a goat. The feet and legs and all. I was
Yeah.
like,
You got these two big buff dudes, bodybuilders. They're scared of little
I
lizards.
lived in
Come
LA
on now.
I lived in LA for 20 some years.
Really?
Minus the time I was in the military. I was in Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina. And then we moved the insurance company to Dallas, Texas, and it was in Addison, Texas, still till today. It's in Addison, Texas. I lived there for 5 years in Plano. It's a great city, Plano.
Yeah, Plano.
Kids went to school there, phenomenal place to live in. But then to me, there's a lot of parts of California I love. There's a lot of parts of Texas I love. If California and Texas were to have a baby, it would be Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
So Florida has the best of both worlds of those two places.
Right.
If you want to do the water, if you want to do the ocean, if you want to go on the boat, if you want to go big sports town, big it's starting to get a massive hub in Miami where business people are moving down here. Obviously, you got the best governor right now that's in town doing what he's doing. And Texas is a bigger target for folks from the left than Florida. So DeSantis is gradually recruiting a lot of people. So I've been telling a lot of friends that, went to Texas, I said, it's a pit stop. Don't worry about it. In about 2 to 5 years, you'll be down here because
Right.
you'll see what's going to be happening. So, but if you guys do come down here, man, we'll be doing some stuff together. Florida is a very, very different type of a place. I love Texas. I love California, but I'm in love with Florida. Hopefully, it'll stay this way. Anyways, okay. So let's see what else we got here before we wrap this up because this has so far been a blast. So,
What kind of fun stories you got going on? You got two comedians here. I want to see these guys talk shit.
Let me do this. Well, why don't we just play this part, though? Why don't we just play this part? Okay. her estate, okay? Her estate.
The queen.
Rest in peace,
Yeah.
what she did, okay? And who she was to the country.
But I never understand that whole king and queen. How do they earn their money?
How do they earn their money?
Yeah.
Generational wealth.
Tax-free generational
this is
wealth.
true generational wealth.
Yeah, but who decided they was going to be king and queen?
It's just
That's the structure of it.
The
That's
monarchy,
the structure.
sir.
That's the monarchy. So Iran used to be like this. So sometimes people don't like the fact that they're too rich and they have too much money, which is a very valid point because they can say, why do you need to have so much money? So, for example, okay, they talked about her stamp collection. How much do you think her stamp collection is worth? Stamp collection. Okay.
Be so stupid.
Thinking about $500.
What do you think is a stamp collection worth? Okay.
Stamp collection.
Stamp collection. Just take a wild guess.
Well, I say 1,200 because inflation, you know.
Okay. $1,200 instead of $500. What would you say?
Stamp collection over under $10 million.
Okay, $136 million.
What the
is the stamp collection?
Buddy, your
right here.
$500
Look at
bet
it.
was a little low.
Stamp collection, $136 million. Okay.
What? Stamps?
Yes, stamps. Stamps.
She was saving stamps.
Dude, she has a stamp collection of $136 million. Next one. How much was her real estate portfolio by the time she passed away?
Oh, man.
Real estate portfolio.
If she got $136 million freaking stamp.
You better go north of that. Come on,
So
now,
give me a
Keith.
number. Give me a number.
I
What
don't
do you
even think I can come over the number that damn high.
You ready?
400 million.
How much?
400 million.
I'm gonna show it to him and look at his facial reaction when he sees this.
That's crazy.
$10 billion. Real estate. I'm not even kidding with you.
10 billion?
10 billion. Car collection, $100 million.
I can't
okay?
even guess.
Car collection,
So
$100
the
million.
stamps is worth more than the cars?
Yes. Car collection, $100 million. Horse racing, $10 million. You know their art collection, which was 270,000 items, 7,000 paintings, 30,000 watercolors and drawings, as well as manuscripts, sculptures, tapestry, furniture, and carriages. How much do you think the art collection is? You ready? $13 billion. And last but not least, this, she wore this a few times. I don't know if you guys remember when she wore this, okay?
The crown jewels?
It's called the crown jewels.
The
okay?
crown jewels.
Can you pull up the crown jewels? Just pull up the picture of the crown jewels, not the price, just the crown jewels. Okay, crown jewels, right there. That's the one right there. Just click on images. Okay, crown jewels. What would you say that is worth? I want you to actually guess.
Look like you got it out of like a gumball machine or something.
Party City.
$500 million.
$500 million? What are you going to say, Keith?
I'll go with 500 million. Fuck it.
I go with 200.
Just the same. I figured you'd go 501 million. Just like,
Price is right. 5 billion for that?
stop.
$5 billion for that.
You could get that at Party City, man. I'm telling you.
$5 billion.
This is crazy.
that.
You know what? I
crazy.
don't believe in white privilege, but if white privilege did exist, I would
This is
take
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this is like on a whole different level.
Thank you for
To have-
tying it all together. You tied
And,
it all
and they don't pay
together.
no taxes on this?
$5 billion. I mean,
How do they earn their money? Like taxes from other people?
I couldn't tell you. Well, you guys should know. You guys were former accountants. Did you guys want to be accountants? Like, that's the kind of stuff you guys do. You should tell us.
I want to be a king and a queen.
Man, I hate to say this. Don't this look like he got kids in his basement, man?
He looked like he got kids in his basement.
Well, his
That's how conspiracy theories get started, by the way.
By the
He
way,
got started on today's podcast.
his fellow family member, Prince.
Yeah, right.
Prince. What is it? Prince Albert.
Yeah.
That's not Prince Albert. Is
He was
it?
on Epstein.
Epstein Island, right?
Yeah, was that Albert? Who was that? I can't think of his
I
name.
don't know.
Who
I
was
think
it?
it was Andrew, right?
Andrew. Prince Albert is, I think, is a thing you do. A different type of earring. I don't know.
But
So
I
Prince
never,
Andrew might have been with those kids.
I never understood how they generated that much wealth. Like,
What are you
do they have
talking
business?
about? The English Empire? The British Empire? What are you talking about?
What this
It's called colonizing the fucking world.
Oh, okay.
How the hell do you... What?
So they have businesses?
Yeah, just stealing shit from other countries. Raping India, raping other... What?
I don't get that. I don't understand why any society would need a king and a queen.
It's funny how they kept calling Trump like he thinks he's a king. He's no king. He named his son Burn. He's no Burn. And look, and then the left, they just praised this woman and all this wealth and yeah.
By the
No,
way,
the
what do you
queen.
guys think about Kanye West? What do you think about him?
Oh, he seems like a good fella.
The most diplomatic non-answer ever. He's a nice guy, that
I
Kanye.
remember
Yeah. It took a lot of balls for a black man, especially with his reputation in the music industry in Hollywood, to go see Donald Trump, the most hated, supposedly be a white supremacist. He went there and he cut through all the bullshit and he said, I'm going to go see him anyway. You know?
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a leader. He's not a follower by any stretch of the
Didn't Steve Harvey go to that same meeting? I think Steve Harvey got some
he
heat
got
for it as
ousted
well.
by black
Oh yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Black person go see Trump. Oh, you are a traitor. They lambasted.
They did it to Ice Cube too.
Why do you ask about Kanye, Pat?
Just curious, because for me, I mean, look, I'd love to sit down with Kanye, have a really long conversation with him, because I think he is another one of those guys that's misunderstood. And the quote goes, if a lion could speak, we could not understand him. There's certain people that are lions that the average person cannot understand, that someone needs to be able to get him to explain it in a way, layman's terms, where it makes sense to people. But the guy, he's not a regular guy. He doesn't look, he has a very different lens on.
Yeah, he got in
other
trouble
people
for
do.
that one quote about slavery. But, a lot of things that he say can be taken out of context and twisted around, especially because he speaks in, metaphors and analogies. You need to get, like, when you sit down and talk to him, when he says something, you got to have him clarify what he just stated, because he is a deep thinker.
I think he's next level musical genius, no doubt. I also think he's a tortured soul. I mean, he's gone through a lot of mental stuff, anxiety stuff, depression stuff,
And his mom and stuff.
Everything that guy's dealing with. There's no clear-cut answer on
freaking
him.
a Kardashian too. That can't be fucking easy.
Yeah, that cannot be good on your mental health
Jesus
right now.
Christ.
Is it true you guys had a little bit of a meltdown recently when news came out that they moved Don Lemon away from primetime?
Oh yeah, it came out
was
when
kind of a little bit hard. I heard you guys took it very.
I
Because
took it hard, man. That's so
how
much
you
material.
doing? Though? How you recovering from that?
I'll be okay. I'll be some other Democrat they put in this position. I'll still have material, but I mean, all these people that was on. I mean, everybody at CNN is getting fired or being demoted, and it's like,
Is
everybody's
that a
just,
good thing? Maybe
That's
is it-
Yeah, I think it's a very good thing, because
Okay.
a lot of
Yeah.
the hosts and commentators they had on those networks, they've lost a lot of credibility, because how long can you keep saying that he's a guy's a white supremacist, that he colluded with Russia, that he did this, did that, and then over time and nothing ever materializes, and it's like, you guys just a bunch of liars.
Yeah, but they were just the face of it. The higher ups was telling them everything to say. Everything was on the teleprompter for them. They had a message for them, and they had to stick with it. And then when it didn't go wrong, they fired them, because their whole reputation is tarnished because it's coming out of their mouth. I mean, until you dismantle CNN and start with new ownership, that place is dead for me.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily against Don Lemon and that other guy that's bald, Brian Selter. Yeah, he was just reading teleprompters. He was just being told what to say and how to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily his fault that, but I mean, you the figurehead of that organization and that broadcast. So whatever you say, people are going to automatically assume that, hey, you're the producer, you're the writer of this show. Everything that's coming out of your mouth, you approve of it. So
Yeah.
if it didn't
It
work
was just
out,
a
oh
paycheck.
well.
I think it's just a paycheck for them. So
Yeah, there were sacrifices.
But again, you know how I process that. Here's how I process that. Adam, this kind of goes to your question earlier about the whole vote. The way I process this is if you start pushing the envelope to the point where you make no sense and you're just gaslighting people,
Right.
customers are going to say, yeah, we're not about this, man. Change it up. We're not dummies. You got to figure something out. And CNN is now having to change their entire business model because it's not working.
Right.
It's just not working. People are not interested in you gaslighting me 24/7, so change it up or else I'm going elsewhere. And then CNN's going to be bought by somebody for pennies on a dollar like other businesses will go through. So
This whole thing with Trump being raided, if they don't indict him or they find anything good on him, these MSNBC, CNN, they're going to lose more credibility, because they just raided that was the first time that ever occurred where the FBI raided a former president's house.
I'm surprised Morning Joe is taking such a hard. I mean, I understand when Trump went after his co-host,
His wife.
I
Mika
understand.
Brzezinski's wife,
I
yeah.
totally get it. And when he goes and he said what he said about him, but
I saw her. She got a facelift. Her face was cut and bleeding, and he goes personal attacks, and that's why it's an emotional argument
he
going
does what they do to him. He does what they do to him, and they don't like. It's kind of like a guy that likes to put it on others, but doesn't like to receive it. Democrats love to give it. If you come back to them and play their game, they don't appreciate.
But Morning
that.
Joe,
They don't
Joe
want you to
Scarborough
be-
was a representative from Florida, Republican, conservative, Tea
absolutely.
Party guy. And
No question about it.
He's no longer a Republican.
It's
He's
very,
denounced
very
Republican.
hard. It's very, very hard for one to give their what they lean in a situation that's coming up in a logical way when somebody goes after your family. It's very hard to do that. So no matter who you are, whether it's Meghan McCain, when Trump went after, it doesn't matter what it is. At that point, loyalty is about blood.
You know who is
and
cool
your
with
loved
going
one.
after each other's family, though? These two knuckleheads. They go back and forth, no problem. Keith, Kevin, they'll fight with each other.
But I dare anybody try to divide these guys. You would not want to
gonna
get in
happen.
between these guys.
Can I
to
make
divide
one
them.
last point?
Yeah.
You two guys, talk the concept of brotherhood. We just sat down with Tate. His best friend is his brother, Tristan. They're going nowhere. You look at Logan and Jake. I'm looking at you guys. I mean, I have a sister. I wish that I had a brother. There's something to be said about having someone that thinks, acts, feels just like you, and that has your back. I mean,
And nobody has what we have.
Yeah.
Not the Wayans brothers, not anybody.
Wayne's brothers. How do you break that down? What do you mean?
I mean, me and Keith, you don't see the Wayans brothers doing anything together. That brand was solid, man. He had that hit TV show. They had white chicks, but you don't never see them together anymore.
Yeah.
They can't be too close. They
Well,
can't.
maybe they are. Who knows?
Yeah.
So what's the methodology with being brothers and being twins? It's like we're going to do.
I
the
don't
damn
know.
thing together.
We are unicorns. We are very unique because a lot of twins, when they're born, a lot of them hate each other. One ends up trying to kill the other.
Cain
or
and
trying to
Abel.
ruin the other person's
Cain and
life.
Abel type of stuff,
They're all-
yeah.
You know what it is? A lot of them, they're in competition with one another. Yeah, me and my brother's never been in competition. When he was doing bigger and better things, like doing the spelling bee and all that, I said, man, I just said, you know what, man? He was on the
You
honor
know,
roll.
in 6th grade when you were killing in that spelling bee?
Yeah.
Misspelling almanac. Come on now.
He was on honor roll.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing none of that. I was doing my own
And
thing.
you were rooting for him.
No, I didn't care. I thought he was whack. So, but over time, we just came close and close. We always been close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I used to help you in the spelling bee, right?
Shut up.
Almanac.
Almanac. ALMANAC. Almanac.
You know what's messed up about that story? I said, oh man, it's a bummer, man. You really tried real hard this time. I thought he misspelled it because I wasn't in the spelling bee.
Were you in the room with them when they did?
Yeah, I was right there beside my mom, my dad.
It was at school in the middle of the day.
Everybody in
the school's in the auditorium. We're having a spelling bee. This is a big deal. This is big time, right? There's about 150 kids in there.
Yeah,
man. I was
Their
up there and I
parents?
see my dad in the crowd. My mom. I was like nervous, man. That was big time.
You made it to the top,
and I made it all the way to the last two.
Yeah,
and then they came to me. I said, Almanac, I got this one. Hopefully he don't get his. I already got this.
By the way, that's a great name for a book. Okay, people can be like, "Why Almanac?" You're like, let me tell you the story about Almanac and what happened and how my life got started and where I am now.
That's awesome.
But anyways, man, this was incredible. The audience obviously loved it. Having you guys on, it's no surprise. You guys are entertaining the world on a regular basis. Gang, if you haven't yet subscribed to their channel, can we make sure we put the channel both in the chat as well as the description for people to find it? Any projects you guys are working on right now that you want people, any major projects you're working on right now that you want to tell the audience?
Don't have shit going on, but
Not right now?
well, we're on tour right now. You can come see us live at hodgetwinstour.com, but we're on YouTube at Conservative Twins. We started another YouTube channel. We call it Patriot Twins, where it's a little less political. It's our politics come into play, but it's more about current events.
Yeah.
So
More about current events. Let's put both of those links below. Gang, again, are we doing podcast tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo is tomorrow. Podcast, fantastic.
Hercules.
We will see you
Hercules,
guys
yeah.
tomorrow on the podcast. Fellas, thanks so much for coming on, man. This was a
thank you
blast.
for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.